Yeah, there's a lag there.
What's up, everyone? Richard here. How's it going, Michael? Tiger?
Hello,
Doing
hello.
well? Can you hear me all right, Tiger?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear
Michael,
you.
there
Hey
you
guys, what's up?
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Right,
I'm here.
before we kick things off today, to all our viewers, welcome back. I hope you enjoy the show or the session. And as always, if you've got any questions, let us know and we'll respond in the comment section there. Yeah, so let's change the order around for starting this today. Michael, you want to show us what you got? And then I'll go on and then we'll pass things over to Tiger. If that's okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, so not too much going on today. As you guys, let me share my screen here. As I'm sure everyone knows, today was NFP, which is non-farm payroll, obviously. And then, of course, we get a few people every now and then who ask, wait, I thought NFP was on Friday, like the first Friday of the month. And
yeah, but it's it's Independence Day, right? Tomorrow.
Except for days like today when Friday is actually a holiday of its own. Huge news today. What was that?
We're lagging up there. And I can't share his screen for some reason. Let me just type it to him quickly. Oh, sorry, guys. Just
yeah, so we had
technical problems.
The non-farm at 8:30, it looks like today. And then tomorrow is obviously a little slow right now. Okay, here we go. And then tomorrow is obviously a bank holiday. So not too much going on tomorrow. Markets closed early again. So just a quick wrap on that. So not too much going on today. I generally do not like to trade NFP at all. Just as too much going on. Now, if it was something super clean and set up for me, then I probably would take it for like a half position. But that's like as much as I'll do on NFP Fridays, which would be this week, would be NFP Thursday, right? So I only was looking at one thing, which was CAD Swiss. And of course, now for me, the only way I would take a setup on NFP is if the 9 o'clock candle, let's say it happens at 8:30, NFP happens at 8:30, right? And then at 9 o'clock, if it sets up for me perfect, then I'll consider taking it. And again, even if I do, it'll only be a half position, right? So this was what I was looking at earlier today, which of course did not work out because it ran. It ran before it was really supposed to because of NFP, right? So it's technically confirmed at around, what time is this? This candle is 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, so 4 o'clock in the morning was definitely not up. Right. I was not up at 4:30, at 4 o'clock, right? So I did see this before I went to bed last night. This was my top setup. So when I woke up this morning and saw it all the way up here, I'm like, we kind of already ran.
Dang it.
Yeah. So I was hoping for a small pullback at 8:30 and then at 9 to kind of reconfirm. But of course, that didn't happen. It's just shot all the way up. So wasn't able to take that. And reason being for this actual trade, obviously, guys, you all know I trade the market maker cycle with the price action. And this was this exact move, right? For me, this is called a master trade. As soon as we get this low peak here, right? So coming out of the box here, this would be that peak low.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking to take this very first bounce move that's kind of retesting that same area, right? And as you can see, we have that exact move pretty much here. The first leg, second leg comes back down, runs up, and then kind of bounces, mainly off that 50 EMA, and then runs towards 200. Yeah. This is exactly what I take. This is actually my #1 setup, my favorite setup, my A+ trade. I think last week, well, earlier this week when we were speaking, and I mentioned that it's illegal for me to not put my full position on my A+ setup, basically. And this is it. This is my A+ setup. I mean, hit rate is ridiculously high on this one. I've seen it as high as in the 80s, guys. So when I see this, I mean, I'm all in. So I saw this yesterday, but of course, it didn't really work.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop a bit. Yeah, it should be illegal for them to do this to us. That's what this should be. Right. And then that's just the chart telling me that, hey, this is exactly it. And then as I mentioned earlier as well, that can you guys hear me?
Lagging a bit there, Michael. Let's see. Oh. You're coming and going. You
guys hear me okay?
Your image has improved quite a lot, but you tend to freeze from time to time.
Okay.
Yeah. Might ought to restart or something.
Okay. Hopefully it'll obviously mention told me exactly that, hey, this is going long. And then the TDI also agreed with me, because right here, you can see that the market baseline went above the static line. So this was a great trade to take, in theory. But again, I don't jump in front of the news at all, especially NFP, because I've been on the wrong side of these plenty of times, and I know better at this point. So,
yeah.
But yeah, this was supposed to be my trade of the day, but it didn't really pan out. Other than that, though, guys, I didn't really look at too much, because again, I hardly ever trade NFP days unless I see this, right? Unless I see this type of setup, which would be that again, for me, is the money trade. Just kind of going through a few other ones. For me, this was nothing. NASDAQ 100. These are all way too high for me. Like, I want to see it pull back, right? And then what's cluing me in that it's kind of topping out as well is I can see this market baseline is pointing down, yet price is staying the same, right? So for me, I kind of want to see something like this. Like, give me some little M structure top, break below there, retest that zone, and then drop, right? And I'll be interested in this move. So to the short side, but this is way too high, so I'm not interested in longs. Most of these US 30, NASDAQ 100, S&P, they're already basically breaking all-time highs for all three of them. So I'm not trying to be buying that. Just want to wait and be patient and look to short it. Same thing here, right? With all three of them, they're like ridiculously high. So I'm just weaning off of those, not really paying too much attention to them until they kind of start to kind of go to the downside. So not interested in those three at all. Gold was pretty interesting. In fact, okay. So yeah, this is actually the second. Oh, you know what? This doesn't look bad at all, guys. Let me see what we got here.
There's your M.
Yeah. You know what? Let's see what we got here. This might be something. Let's see if we got some 4-hour confirmation here. Let me get this off of here. Because for me, I would need price to be below the 13 EMA as well, which is not, but it could be in the next 35 minutes. So we'll see what it looks like in the next 35 minutes. Hopefully, we might get a trade here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
for me, again,
Michael, will that be like an M pattern, right?
Yeah. So on the yep.
And
this is actually really nice.
At the indicator in the bottom.
The indicator at the bottom is called the TDI, Traders Dynamics Index.
Okay. And what do you look for there? Where must those bands be? I think you said they need to come across from below to the upper side, or when you take long.
So this is perfectly exactly how I want it to look, right? So I'll draw it on the chart here. So we have this one leg here, and then we actually have two legs here. So what I call this like a 12 candlestick pattern, basically, because it's one leg here, two legs here. That's what I want the chart to look like. And then on the TDI, you see how this RSI line is outside the band here. So that shows me that this is the outside structure. Theoretically, they shouldn't go past this level. And then also you can see that the RSI line is inside the band on these two, which shows me, all right, where price is within the band, so it should be contained, which is great. And then you can see this beautiful reload is what I call it, right? So we got here, the market baseline. I'll use these two actually. The market baseline has gone above the static here at this point. And you can kind of see it starting to kind of curve on over, right? The market baseline is the yellow one. So it's starting to curve down, to me, signifying that, hey, price is ready to make lower lows here. And and then what I like to think is happening here is that once price goes above, they're trapping these traders long here. And the same thing is happening on the TDI, right? Like this yellow line, once price goes above this static line, they're activating orders going long. So right now they're collecting long contracts just for them to yank it short on them.
Rug pull them.
Yeah. Right. So that's what I like to think is going on. And that's what I see behind like the scenes. But yeah, if I can get a close below in the next 32 minutes below this 800 EMA, which is this blue one going straight across, right? So somewhere around here, this wouldn't be bad to take, like not at all. Right. So this could give you a nice, like a nice one for $1.35. So in addition to this, closing below this 800 EMA, what I would also want to see is price closing below this. That would be this 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart. That would give me all four things of what I'm looking for, right? Because again, one is, where am I in the cycle? So I know where I am, right? I'm in level 2. That's why it's an M. I'm looking for a pattern, which we have. We see that beautiful M pattern off of the 200 EMA on a 1-hour chart. I'm looking for a higher time frame confirmation, which again we don't have just yet, but if we do, that'll be price closing below this 200 EMA here. So that'll give me the higher time frame confirmation. And then of course my last one would be the entry signal, which would be that close on the 1-hour chart. 3 and 4 theoretically should happen at the same time. But on a 1-hour chart, that'll give me that close below this 800 EMA. If I can get if all of those happen in the next 35 minutes, this trade is good to go. And I'll be taking it.
Gotcha.
Now, again, I won't be taking this for a full position because I don't like to take trades on NFP. I literally don't do that. However, if it looks like this, I will take it at least for a half, like bare minimum. And yeah,
you can make
this would be
right?
Yeah, you got to be a little bit flexible, right? Like you can't be so stagnant.
For sure.
So yeah, this will be what I'm looking for on gold. So this is super nice. In fact, I'm going to put me an alert here just so I don't get sidetracked. This is what I used to do. I used to not put alerts and I'll come back and see the move happen. I'm like, oh my God, like Mike, what happened?
Yep. Oh man. Live by alerts. That's the thing that makes it tick. Makes it tick.
Yeah. No, very important. Save those eyes.
So I'm big, like big with my alert. Yes. And it just helps me out too, right? Like when I leave, I don't have to be, because the thing is, people don't want to trade. They think they have to be stuck in front of the charts all day. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't have to be. You can set orders in the market, alert you to come back when it gets to a certain price and kind of, take it from there. So cool. Let's just kind of, while I'm still here, let's just kind of walk through the rest of them. I know exactly what I'm looking for when I go through these. So for me to be a little bit quick, but that's why I was able to spot that so fast. This is ugly. So this is nothing at all. I'm just going to keep moving forward with that. This is pretty ugly too.
Crude oil is very ugly.
Yeah, this is really ugly, actually. I'm going to leave this alone. Now, it looks really funny. I don't like how it just sat in this level for so long like this. Right? Like it kind of just sat in this same spot for
a long time.
Yeah, since the 23rd of June for 10 days. It's just sitting here. So this is nothing for me. This is hideous. Bitcoin. I was looking at this yesterday, but this was not a full pattern. And this to me did work, but I did not take this trade. And reason being is the pattern was not clear. This was just, sometimes they trick you, right? Like the 5,200 did cross. So I was looking for a pattern off the 200. But for me, this is not a pattern. That's just a bounce. That's nothing. I'm looking for the W. That's why I always say the W off the
bottom.
Yeah. And it did not do that here. So although this did work out, I wouldn't chase a trade just because it's close like this. Like this is not close enough. For me, it's more of a close but no cigar type of deal. Right. Gotcha. Now, had this come down and retested this and then went up, I would have been all over this. All over it. But the fact that it didn't do that, that's not what I'm looking for. Because what happens is, right, when you don't take it, it does this. As soon as you take it, it stops you out. Right? Yeah. Like as soon as, if I would have taken this trade, it would have came back and gave me another leg. Like that's just how it works. For some weird, strange rule breaking reason. Odds. Yeah, it does that.
Picking on you. You always do that from the hour time frame, your M's and W's?
So yeah, majority out of my 5 setups, 4 of them do happen on the 1 hour chart. There's only one that happens on the 15-minute, and it's still an M or a W off the same pattern, basically. Okay. But it's a different setup.
Yeah, that makes sense. It seems like such a simple method that you use. Like that would be real simple to teach people. I mean, it doesn't always have to be super extravagant. I mean, it can just be something simple like that to help people, learn a trading method, learn to make money. So, yeah. While it looks complex, but you break it down like the way you do, and it just looks quite simple method to teach people. So,
yeah, I get that a lot, and I tell people, to be honest, it's pretty simple. Like I try my best. I'm not the best because I've learned a lot from going through this process, right? So I try to cut down all the fluff. Like you don't need to know that, you don't need to know this, you don't need to know that. That's not important. Like I have that on my chart because I like to look at it to give me extra, confidence in taking it. But you don't worry about that yet, right? Just focus on these 2 things. Right? Because the money is made in these 2 levels right here. And this works in no matter what it is. Cryptos, stocks, currencies, commodities, it really doesn't matter. It's nearly the same cycle. Yeah. And if you can identify where you are in this cycle, some people like to trade these lower levels. And I get why they would, because if you can grab the trade from all the way down here, by the time it runs up there, you got much more than you got from here. Right. Some people like to take this trade and swing it. Me, on the other hand, that's just not my personality style. Like I like to be in, out, and looking at the meat of it.
Yeah, you catch the meat of it.
Right. So for me, I just stick to these 2, right? And I just tell people, if you can identify these 2 levels, right? Because again, in this level 1, the 1350 EMA crosses. That's how you know you're in level 1. You're looking for that bounce off the 50 EMA, riding it up in this case. And then in this level 2, the 5200, like we see here, right, would have been crossed. and you're looking for that pattern off the 200 EMA. If you can catch these two moves, that's all you need. You don't need anything more than that.
Yeah.
Right.
And within, right?
Yeah. And within my 5 setups, right? Those 5 setups occur in these 2 levels. I don't trade in level 3 peak high, and I don't trade in level 3 peak low. Like, I just leave those 2 levels alone because they could chop, right? Like, they could basically, we could do a crude oil thing, right? Where you're just sitting in this level for 10 days.
Yeah, I've been out of crude oil since that.
Yep. So just imagine this, right, guys? Like, I just drew this out. I just showed a perfect example of why you don't want to try to take that. This thing has sat here in this same level for 10 days, and now it's finally broken out, and this would be the move. I only want this move right here. I don't care about that chop. To me, that's chop city. It's just going to be you sitting there waiting these trades. You don't want to get in extra trades because you're in drawdown. Sometimes you got to pay swap. You got to go to sleep and wake up wondering if you in profit. That's too much for me. I don't want to do all of that. That's way too much. I want to be in and out.
Not going to deal with that. I have other worries that keeps me up sometimes. Trading should be one of them.
Yeah, that keeps you from catching falling knives.
Exactly. So yeah, I just like this.
Awesome.
And it really does. I try to tell people all the time, and like, why don't you just Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I just wanted to quickly show my trade, because I just took profits on one position. But that's that's fine.
Go ahead. Let's check it out.
It's still going well.
Let's check it out.
Look at that chart of mine. I took a trade on the NASDAQ. It was about 15 minutes after the NFP numbers. Let me just make sure I'm sharing the right screen here. Let's go with that. Up. There we go. Can you see that?
Nice. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can see it.
Right. I'll just quickly show the trade first. So this is on my execution platform. Basically, 8:30 price spike to the upside. Obviously, that's with the NFP numbers came up, beat expectations, and then after a small little pullback, I got in almost at the low of that pullback, and then I used a pitchfork to set my targets. My first one's already been filled, which was at the upper line of this pitchfork. And I pretty much doubled up this pitchfork, and I got my second target residing slightly below that double up level. Now, visually, I can probably show you on TradingView what it is that I've done here. I generally don't trade news, but considering how powerful the NASDAQ's been moving to the upside as of late, all the indices, with those numbers that came out, it was I had a pretty decent thinking or idea that price will continue higher, which it luckily did. But this time I managed my trades with a pitchfork. So basically went from the 1st of July to this high on the 2nd of July. And this is on a 15-minute time frame to the low of the 2nd of July. You can see our price has beautifully respected this upper median line quite a few times. Then during the London session, price moved slightly lower, or start moving to the upside. I'll show you that on my other 5-minute chart. I was trying to not have too many drawings on one particular chart, so I've got different workspaces for that. But price shot up, obviously, right as those NFP numbers came out, and then it pulled back, and that's pretty much where I got in. Now, what I quite often like to do is draw a line parallel to one of my median lines, and you got this little area over here where price did not reach that 50% dashed median line, which is just maroon type of color. But if you use that same angle, it's pretty much where price pulled towards, and that's almost where I got into that trade, like right at the end of that decline. And first target's been met. There was a good 2-to-1 there, and the third target or second target, if price would reach it, would be in excess of 5.7, nearly 6, 1-to-6 ratio, which is a pretty decent trade. So yeah, I'm gonna also just maybe tighten that stop as well. I've taken a very small position on this. It's just for showing you guys what I've done, or to all our viewers as well, how you can use market geometry to get into trades like this. So that I just tighten my stop a little bit over here, slightly below break even. So even if price now comes downwards, I'll still be in profit if price will take out that stop. So I'm just trying to still give it a little bit more space, but I won't be holding this trade into tomorrow, right? I'll probably be out later today. I'll monitor it when I get home. What we've also had here, share this tab. This is on my 5-minute time frame tab. Is this massive, obviously, fair value gap that formed when price spiked high like that. And you can also see that pullback where I got in sort of around the end was about the midpoint of that fair value gap as well. And basically got in a trade there. I think on a 1-minute time frame, you start seeing some, where was it? Yeah. The sort of bullish engulfing move that came out of it and got long. So that's the trade on the NASDAQ. I just wanted to show you guys that. I actually wanted to show it before price hit that first target, but it is what it is. Luckily, nice. I'm sort of now in a free right? So good way to end the week. Sure. But yeah, that was it. Sorry for interrupting, Michael. I didn't have to show you that. But back to you, unless... are you ready yet?
Yeah. I'm actually paying attention. I'm paying attention to a potential trade here on a higher time frame for pound Swiss. So let me just flip on over, and then I'll talk about my Nikkei trade that I've been in since what is today? Tuesday. So let's just flip on over here. And I'll probably just start actually with my trading view just to look at my analysis. I about said dialysis. I used to work in medical transport, so I transported a lot of medical patients for dialysis. So sometimes that word comes out. But anyway, I'm still in the middle of working some of my indicators out. I know we have to go to the dark mode for the stream and everything. So I'm just going to show this on the light mode because some of my indicators aren't looking so good on the dark mode. So I've got to go and edit a bunch of things. So by tomorrow's stream, I should have the dark mode set up. But yeah, so pound Swiss, if I'm looking at that on a 2-hour time frame, it's currently right in the middle of that supply zone. The supply zone. So I'm just looking to get, on a smaller time frame, looking to get a bearish candle come out of that with a little bit of volume. So obviously which report was that? That was the jobs report, I believe it was. Yeah, the non-farm unemployment, the non-farm report that came out, got everything in a little bit of a tizzy on the volume side. So that's good. We're going to get a little bit of movement this morning. I like that. But just going back, I'm currently on a 15-minute time frame inside of that 4-hour supply. So I just want to see some type of bearish movement coming out of that, preferably something with a tail or something that's engulfing. Guys, usually I'll start at a 15, but I'll kind of dance down to the 10-minute or even the 5-minute at times, just to see what things are looking like on the lowest time frame there. This candle here is, pretty well even with the previous candle on a 5-minute. Does have a little bit of volume, a little bit more volume previous to that last up candle, but it didn't have any wider of a range. So probably wouldn't use that as my trigger. Now, as you can see, we are starting to move a little down. I mean, that candle there has engulfed the previous couple candles, but I prefer it to, if I'm going to use a candle that's engulfing on a smaller time frame, I'd like to see it engulf like three or maybe three of those smaller candles. So that's getting closer, but not quite to my liking as far as that goes. Just flip back to the 15. Okay, so on the 15, we do have a nice little tail here, but the volume kind of went down. So I'm just kind of being nitpicky on this. I would have preferred to have seen that volume candle spike up, a little higher than that. But hey, look, at this point, if we can get a few more candles start to come down, then that'll be my trigger. So, basically what I'm saying is I want to stay flexible when it comes to finding that trigger candle. There's really 3 or 4 different ways. So I'm just going to kind of monitor this for the moment. I mean, I could very easily put a limit order, on its way out just to short sell automatically, which may be what I do, just so that I don't at least miss out on the trade. But yeah, I prefer those stop limits anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to flip on over to my broker chart. And we'll just go ahead and put it in as a limit on the way out. So let's do this. Sell, stop. Yeah, this is another platform I'm still kind of learning. So let's just put let's see here. 8 stop loss. We're going to do stop loss 1.0871, 1.0871. Take profit. We'll do that take profit probably down into this area, and I'll adjust it here in a minute. 1.0774, 1.0774. Let's do, we'll just keep the math easy just for example purposes there. Okay, so $100, 376. Yeah, a little over a 3.5 to 1. Sell. Okay, there we go. So nice. Just kind of zooming in here. We're starting to get that rollover. That's looking pretty good from a candle, perspective. But yeah, just to kind of look at it again from that 30,000 foot view, which, have you noticed every single broker is different? One candle may look completely different on another broker, may look completely different on another broker.
Oh yeah.
It's so annoying. It's so annoying when you get that, because it's like, well, now it doesn't look so good on this. Yeah.
Because sometimes you make decisions based off that.
Yeah. Yes. So, anyway, I'm just going back to my trading view. So yeah, again, we got that 2-hour supply zone. Starting to get that rollover. So that's what on my broker, I've obviously got a limit order set here on its way out. So it's more of a confirmation entry. I mean, there's really 3 different types of entries. You can do an entry upon touching a zone. You can do a entry after it comes 50% into the zone, or you can do a confirmation entry on its way out. So just kind of something like, if I can get my drawing tool, something like this. There's entry. Hold on a second. Let's do this again. Entry on the touch, or a 50% entry on the way in, or a confirmation entry on the way out. That's really the 3 different types of entries one can do on any trade. So for this one, I want it to be more of a confirmation entry. But yeah, we got that stop limit set. So we'll see how that reacts. I'm going to go back to it in a minute, but wanted to also show my Nikkei trade. I've got going
extra confirmation for price to move lower to get that stop order filled first.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's just basically, like I said, trust but verify. Just make sure that it's
Always
not cutting through like a hot knife through butter and just ignoring the zone completely. So give me that resistance. But
is that the Nikkei trade?
Yeah, that's my Nikkei trade. So I got into this one on Tuesday down in this area here by long. Actually drew this up for Discord yesterday. But yeah, that non-farm report, that unemployment report, I mean, it if I go to a 1 minute time frame, you guys can see it. It really liked it on the Nikkei. And this is where I was talking the other day. A lot of I mean, I got my start trading Forex. That's my first love. It's the one I'm married to. But after a while, I started eyeballing other things, started looking at indices, get that extra girlfriend or two, if you will. But
looking around.
right. Wandering eye. So yeah, I've started really liking indices as well, and then obviously metals and crypto. But look, I mean, they're all interconnected. I mean, obviously the same rings true for the U.S. indices, but a lot of these other world indices and instruments are the package deal. Robert says, choose the package deal.
Yeah, they do sort of follow each other, right? So even
they're all on a pull system. They're all on a pull system. They move in kind of lockstep. Now, obviously, some will turn around and do the opposite or be the inverse relationship, like obviously gold and U.S. dollar inverse relationships. Right. Yeah, but in some way, shape, or form, everything's connected. So even though that was a good U.S. report, it was also good for the Japanese Nikkei. And as you can see, it's just taking off. I mean, I kind of drew up yesterday the 1-to-1s, the 2-to-1s, the 3-to-1s. So now that we've reached a 1 to 1.5, I mean, this might be a good opportunity for me just to move my stop loss from where it's at below the demand zone up to break even, or enough, as I say, to buy a cup of coffee at worst, if it just totally reverses and goes against me. It's times like this where me personally, this is just my comfort level. This may not be for everybody, but my comfort level is I want to be able to sleep easier tonight than I did last night, meaning I can avoid a loss if I just move it to break
Absolutely.
So
I agree.
So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and move that from potential stop, potential loss to break even. So we'll just go right above like that.
Beautiful.
I always say taking the risk off the table.
Yeah, but not only break even. Give me something that's going to make me like $5 so I can at least go buy a cup of coffee if God forbid it goes against me, right? That's the cup of coffee trade, if you will. So there we go. We're at 0.005 to 1. But anyway, so that's my Nikkei trade. Looking at my top setups real quick. The DAX in Germany is still looking real strong. I'm not placing a trade on it because I'm already in an index trade. But I'm still going to just touch on it. So let me go to the DAX just to show you guys how beautiful supply and demand zones work. And I do this pretty much every stream. I just like to show examples so that you guys are seeing. Oh, I'm on the wrong chart. Sorry about that. Oh no, that's not the one. I need the actual DAX. There we go. Yeah, so here's daily, which is the yellow. And again, I need to adjust all my colors so I can get to dark mode. But I'll probably have a chance to finally do that tonight. But on the right side, we've got the daily.
Especially you have to fiddle around with all the indicators.
Yeah. I understand why they're wanting everything uniform, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I got so many indicators I use. I got to go adjust the colors because here's the reality. Like right now, if I go to dark theme and I use my Fibonacci, I mean, look at that. So you can't even see some of the lines. So it's just little things like that I got to go adjust. So, but no worries. Yeah, I'll definitely get that taken care of. And by tomorrow's stream, I'll have it up and running. But anyway, daily on the right as far as demand goes, and then the 4-hour on the left. Actually, I think that was more of a 1 hour. Yeah. So that right there was the last down candle before that big gap up. Well, it wasn't a gap because there was technically a candle right here, but it still gapped up. But yeah, you guys can see where price just wicked in nicely if I get rid of that and turn my, let's see, go back to my, yeah, that candle right there. I mean, it just touched and just jumped nicely. I mean, I was considering going ahead and jumping in, but again, it's when it comes to the same country's currency or indexes, I just like to pick the best looking one. So, yeah, that would have been another good trade to the long side.
I do that same exact because you don't want to be over leveraged.
Exactly. Like if I'm in a dollar Japanese yen, I don't want to go do the opposite on the euro dollar, just as an example.
Exactly.
Now, Michael, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever heard, but some people actually will do that. But what they'll do is instead of putting their normal size risk on $2 or $3 pair trades, they'll maybe break it down into thirds so that they can spread the risk out among the currencies. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of that, and to be honest, that makes sense. And I used to do that, but now I'm more of I'd rather just put my full risk on the best of the three.
And that's exactly where I lie. And I know some great traders that make a lot of money that do it, but no, I'm right there with you. Just if I'm confident about the trade, it's going to work on the pair that I pick. If in my mind, if I'm spreading it out amongst other trades, it's like, well, do I really believe in what I'm saying? That's just kind of the way I look at it.
Just quickly, we got a question there from Jay.
And at the end of the day, let's say all three of them do hit. Oh.
Yep. What we got here?
No, go right ahead.
How is the pending? Is that the one? How is the pending Swiss Jap trade that you are planning to take? Oh, I think that I kind of answered it after he typed that. Yeah, the Swiss Jap. Right. Let's just go on back over to it. Let's see here. Swiss Jap. Where's it at? Swiss Jap. Oh, I think he was talking about the one from yesterday, actually. Possibly. Yeah, I think I was looking at one on the smaller time frame and turned my sessions bar back on so I can see where my times are.
Well, that was also one heck of a spike.
Yeah. See, the U.S. report has nothing to do with Switzerland or Japan, but you can see it still affects it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. That's the exact same. That's the exact same price action, and this is another reply from one of them asked yesterday. Why does basically why do the currency pairs move in tandem? It's because the big banks, the institutions, the retail traders scattered across the world, they're going to have their own pair that they're partial to. So I'm here in the U.S. I might like the dollar or Japanese yen. Somebody living in the Switzerland area might prefer the Swiss Jap. Australia, they're trading the Aussie Jap. So the point is, if something is good for one of that currency, then it's gonna be bought or sold for all.
So they all sort of move in tandem, right?
Across all the others, but yeah, euro dollar, pound dollar. I mean, you can see that this is a 1 minute time frame. Dollar Jap is the opposite. New Zealand. I mean, all the currencies for the dollar clearly moved pretty much the same. Dollar CAD, but when we go to the cross pairs, they're still moving because everything is pretty well tied to the dollar in some way, shape, or form, whether it's pegged or whether it's just heavily influenced. Okay, the pound New Zealand, not as much, but yeah. And then you start getting down into some of these lower ATR currency pairs, and it doesn't really affect it a ton. But yeah, just going down through every single pair. Look at that, Aussie CAD. Obviously, anything that happens in the U.S. affects Canada. So everything's interconnected in some way, shape, or form. It's crazy.
Well, Canadian dollars.
Some way, somehow.
Let me see. I'm going to flip on over here to my. So after we had those job reports that just came out, okay, the non-farm here, July 3rd, the jobless, the unemployment. So you could see that was bullish for the currency on the unemployment and the jobless. bullish for the non-farm payroll. So look, today was a good day for the dollar, clearly. I mean, if we're looking at the overall impact, it's sitting at 50%. 50% is more the baseline. Anything that's over 50 is, a bullish bias for the currency. Anything under is obviously bearish. But this is something that, let's see here. Something I wanted to touch on, because I think I might have even touched on it yesterday. So typically when these reports come out, what's bearish for the US dollar will typically be bearish for the stocks. But just wanted to make the big difference known that when it comes to the inflation reports, the CPI and the PPI, as you can see, the CPI it's the inverse. So when it's bearish for the dollar, it's bullish for the stocks and vice versa. So, that's just kind of a quick way to gauge, if this report's going to be good for the currency and the stocks or vice versa. So, but yeah, when it comes to inflation, that's typically an inverse relationship, just like gold and the dollar. So, but anyway.
Pound getting smashed this morning, says Robert.
Which one?
Robert, pound yen.
Dollar Japanese yen, yep.
Sorry, pound yen, dollar yen.
There it is right there.
That's right.
Yeah, all the dollar pairs are basically going up right now. I mean, the traders have just been waiting for some good news for the U.S. dollar. I mean, it's just been getting beat down. For everybody that wants to just have a generic look at a currency, strongly suggest just look at the dollar index. So it's just the Dixie on your trading view or whatever, but you just look at it on a daily time frame over here, and then whatever time frame on the left, or you can just strictly look at it on the daily. But this is perfect. So I've lined up all the currencies, all the major currencies. I got the Dixie for the dollar, the Euro index, the British pound, Swiss franc, Japanese yen. So you get the picture. Easiest thing to do in the morning when you go to decide which currencies look the best or which ones look the worst. Now, I've got some software that shows it, but if you just need a quick visual, just look at that. Look at that, and then you can take a look at the VIX, which is the volatility index, and you can see, back here when we had the tariff scares, you can see how high it spiked. That just basically means activity going like crazy, and then as we start getting more and more information, you can see how it just kind of crashes down to normal rates, which I would say between the 15 to 20 range is kind of normal, but just take a look at the 30,000 foot view of what your favorite currencies are doing. And, from there, you could kind of look and see where its support and resistance areas are. And obviously, you don't trade the indexes, but it's a good way to gauge and see where it's at.
Right.
Because, for me, I love to do that because I use supply and demand, which is very similar to support and resistance. It's just that gives me a little bit bigger of a range to buy or sell. So, but I'm rambling, but I just thought I would share some of those things.
All good. Tiger, I just want to quickly update my trade there. Can I show you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Ooh, Nikkei's looking good.
Let's
gotta love it.
Look. Let me just get that other screen back. Okay, hang on, give me 1 second, guys. There's me.
Getting close to it.
All right. Sorry, I need to be on a 15-minute time frame there. There we go. So we cleared this up median line pretty well now. Prices, right? So on my execution platform, I've still got my stop loss slightly above break even or slightly below break even. So I'm going to be moving my stop loss now to basically there where I took my first target. So if price or slightly below it, so should price actually move downwards again, it might find support, but we're not far off from my final target. So yeah, we'll keep you updated on that. But it's really going nice on this trade. A very powerful move that we're seeing here on the indices, especially the NASDAQ. So yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick update on that. Also, before I pass it back to you guys, let me just share the dollar index. And I've shown this yesterday. I'm going to go to weekly and get the zoom mode proper there. We can see that prices also hit the slow median line.
Yep.
During this decline, I drew the shift pitchfork. I think it was in the beginning when we started with these sessions. Someone asked me to draw a pitchfork, one of our viewers, on the dollar index. And this box over here was actually drawn, I think this was like beginning April somewhere. Yeah. And price has now reached that lower median line, and it is bouncing a bit. Now it'll be interesting to see, are we going to get a bigger pullback or retracement to the upside? Obviously, I can't tell you that's going to happen, but very interesting to watch this price action, how price interacts with these lines. And quite often, it's almost like a timing tool when it actually hits those lines. Typically, I've seen it so many times. Price reaches one of these very important median lines, and some sort of news comes out or something happens. It's pretty weird how that all works. But if we get a very sharp downwards move and a close below this low median line, then we could potentially see price move even lower towards the 93.50 area. Which is just, again, another angled median line sloping to the downside. So I thought it'll be quite interesting just to update. You were talking about the DAX, and I just wanted to show you quickly what I've got here on the DAX. But apart from that, guys, really don't have too much to add, apart from price getting very near to my final target. It is almost there. And it would be nice to actually just get out of it, to be honest. This is quite a big of a move, which I think I'm just going to do. Just close this trade. Reason being is, do I want to sit through a pullback now? This is at least a 5-to-1 move at the moment. Very decent move that we've seen
Nice.
Friday. Wait a few hours. Back, I don't think that's worth it, especially going into Independence Day tomorrow. So I'm out of it. It was a really, really nice trade on the NASDAQ. I don't normally trade news, but I just had a good feeling that. But I waited still 15 minutes until after the news, right? Things settled down a bit. Waited for a pullback. And it was pulled back into that fair value gap right over here to the midpoint of it, and boom. Straight upwards.
Textbook.
Cool. Yeah.
It's as textbook as it gets, right?
Having to be patient, right?
Nice.
But at least, luckily, got a pullback into the area there. So that's me. Back to you guys.
Good stuff. Got anything working at the moment, Michael?
Sweet. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll grab it here really quick. This gold trade, of course, did not confirm, and it's taking everything in me right now not to take it anyway.
The pressure of a live stream.
To be totally honest, it's so close.
It's coming up now. Awesome.
Yeah. Because I wanted to close below this price and it didn't, but it still looks good. But the main thing is I don't have my 4-hour confirmation, and I don't want to take any trades when price is above. Now the thing is, it is below the 13, which is technically what I want it to be below. The 13 is below the 13, the red one, and it's below the 50, which is the blue one. But I really just would have liked if it would have closed below this 200 too, and it didn't. Right, so it's so close, but I don't like this huge wick. We're kind of rejected price here at this ADR low. They could be trapped, have short traders trapped here, and I don't want to take the chance that
No.
that's true, right?
Right.
Because I would have wanted it to close below this 800 EMA, like more here. This would have been nice, but seeing that it didn't, and you can kind of see it bounced right off this price. Price came down, it stopped right at this 800 EMA and bounced right off the next one. Right now, what could happen, which we won't be in the session, then this next candle could end up closing below both of these candles, and then 100% sure the trade is on. But I don't want to.
Gotcha.
If I jump in now, I'll be jumping in early.
Yeah.
And to be
Not
honest,
following your rule.
yeah, and it could not confirm, right? Like this thing could totally just go back the other way, and then if I take it, I'll be sitting here like, I knew I shouldn't have took that.
I knew it.
I know it.
Yeah, I knew I shouldn't have took that. So that feeling right there, and that voice in my head telling me, now you know you're not supposed to take that yet. I just can't do it. As bad as I want to, it's missing one thing. And again, if I'm looking at this market baseline, again, it's the yellow one. It's pointing down. This wants to go ahead and do something like that and go below. But I don't want to jump in early. So sucks. But
Our most annoying friend is hindsight.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Yep. This has been a crazy week, right? Because I already showed the one earlier today. Yesterday, I'll go over GU and GJ really quick, and I'll go over GJ first. Yesterday, we had news at 8:15 Eastern, and I was waiting for this trade, and of course, news got it. Like it literally ran during news. I tried to take this trade right here, short, at this candle, and literally,
wow,
it ran to take profit, which was the 800 EMA here, in one solid candle. Yep, one solid candle ran right to it. But I couldn't take it because again, it could have easily, for me, if you jump into a trade before the news, it kind of makes it a gamble. You know what I mean? Like your edge is not presented the way that you think it is. So me, I just stay away from it because again, I have so many bad experiences with just saying, "Oh,
I like
news."
to quite often just guess which direction price is going to spike in. You know, and I'm always mostly wrong. I think 80% of the time because you see the number, but price is doing this. I thought it would do the other. Well, I'm not trading it. I'm just taking a guess, and it's just almost impossible to tell. And getting stuck on the wrong side of a trade like that. Oof. And I've been there. I've done that. It's not nice.
I had two of them that worked out perfect, but just like Michael was saying, when it's like an account suicide making a trade right before, right during the news. I mean, I'd be happy to show a couple screens I got here.
Yeah,
let me after you're done.
For sure. This for me is just one of those things where you just can't do nothing about it, right? Like our edge is there when it's confirmed, but jumping in before news to me is a variable. It's like an unknown variable. I don't want to gamble with something like that. So I hardly ever do it. Like at this stage, I hardly ever do it. Now I'll admit I do it when, let's say, I'm smashing it for the week and I got like a few $100 to play with. I'm like, you know what? I don't care about this. I'll gamble it.
Just throw away trade.
Yeah. For the most part, though, I hardly ever do it. Like literally, I hardly ever do it. But just to kind of show this same pattern, right? The M top, of course, this runs down, as you can see. And then what do we have? We have this second M structure here. This is exactly what I saw, right? I came to the charts right before here. I saw this and everything. And I said, man, please don't run during news, right? Like, please don't do it. And sure enough, because for me, the confirmation candle is this red one right here. This red candle that closes below the 13 EMA and below all of this was the candle to take, right? And sure enough, right, you would have threw your stops right above that swing point. Target was the 800 EMA. And man, smashed it in 1 hour. This was a nice almost 2 for 1 in 1 hour. Like easy trade. right? And this trade is awesome because, let me point this out. This, as I always like mention, right? This here, as you can see, is the 13. I'm gonna type this on the screen actually. This for me is the 1350 cross. Whoops, cross. So I know I am in level 1, and I'm looking for a bounce. And I can't spell today. Bounce off 50.
Push.
All right. Right. Boom. Give me that boost. Right. So soon as this, and this is always the case, soon as the 1350 cross, I'm looking for price to make this little run, which it does. And that very first time that price pulls back to the 50 EMA, which is the blue one, I'm all over it at this point. Right now, this doesn't count. It was super close, but for 2 reasons, I can tell that this is not the move, for the simple fact that, one, I don't like price to close on the EMA like that. Like, it needs to be clearly below it. Not, I need to blow my screen up and look real close and get my magnifying glass out to see it. Like, I don't need to, this shouldn't be like that. But that's just one case that clues me in. But 2 would be, if you look at this, it's small and subtle, but you can see that this RSI line is slightly outside the band right here.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, that clues in that that's the first leg. I'm looking for the second leg at this point, which, as you see, the second one came on in. And if you look at the TDI, you clearly can see that the RSI line is inside the band at this point. Right. And I'm looking for that bounce move. This one happens to be beautiful, which is like, it gave me a nice little M structure here. And then it closed. Soon as this candle closed, you take the trade. There's nothing else more about that. We even had, if you look at this on the 4-hour confirmation, on the 4-hour chart as well. Let me throw this on like this. If we look at the 4-hour chart, you can see price was clearly below the 13. Sorry, I got to zoom all the way in here. This last candle, so this is the open candle, obviously. You got to look at the last one. You can clearly see that this little red candle is below the 13 EMA. So how I drew up earlier, we know we are in a cycle, number 1. 2, we have a pattern off this 50 EMA here, really off the 200 and the 50 EMA. So we got a nice pattern. 3rd, we have the confirmation on the 4-hour chart. And lastly, the entry signal with the close below the 13 EMA. Right, you put all that together, you smash this trade. You don't do anything else, but you take this trade. Again, if news had not happened and it looked just like this would have been a full 1% on this position. Right, like that's the exact trade you want to take in that cycle. The only reason, again, that kept me out of this was the fact that, news happened at 8:15.
Not worth it, guys. Not worth it.
Right. So you
could have been out of that trade in like a minute if it went down.
Right.
That's always the worst. You're like completely wrong and very fast you're wrong as well. Sometimes it's better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. When something like this happens, when something like this happens, it sucks. But at the same time, for me, I still consider it a win. And for my process, right? Like, you got financial wins, but you got wins on your process. Like, even though it went, it sucks that I didn't get to take advantage of it. But for me to spot it, to see it, and to stick to my rules and not take the trade, that's a win on my process. I'm still happy with it.
It gives you more confidence in your process, right?
That's exactly the same thing I went through with the Aussie dollar trade, or potential trade, would-be trade. Yeah.
Right.
Exact same thing, which I'll show here in a minute.
So you guys saw this one from Wednesday. I showed you the one today's Thursday. I showed you the cat. What was that? Cat Swiss, I want to say. Yeah, I think that was Cat Swiss that I showed earlier. Was that Cat Swiss? Yeah, Cat Swiss. I showed you this one today. Right? That I mentioned in the very beginning of the session. So 2 trades that I would have taken full advantage of had it not been for the news. And I knew coming into this week that it was going to be a very wacky week with NFP and the first week of the quarter 3, and then bank holiday on Friday. Like, I wasn't putting too much expectations on this week. I was really, again, just looking forward to coming back on the 7th and getting back to it then. So for it to happen, I'm not too surprised for one, but it still sucks a little bit.
Gosh, quarter 3. I can't believe that. This year is flying by.
Yep. And then, of course, I'm already 100% sure that gold is going to give me the blues too. Like, might as well finish off the week.
If you can't be good at it.
Right.
Hey guys,
right.
a quick
So
comment
that's one of
here
those
from
things.
Sol. Yes, it's Solka. Am I pronouncing it right? Will it go down? I suppose you were talking. I don't know which market you're talking about, Solka. Can you confirm?
Yeah, let us know which market we'll see.
Today's a tough day.
Today's a tough day. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say this. I want to be very clear about this, right? If this candle closes below this price in the next 40 minutes, even though we won't be on a session, I'm still in this trade. Like, this trade is still very much in play. As I mentioned earlier, I just can't jump in early. That's the only thing. It's not that it's off the board today. It's still on the board. It's still really early. For me, it's only 10:20. And I can trade gold all the way until 1, 2 o'clock latest. So if this trade, again, sets up, if this alert goes off and closes below this area, I'm still going to take it, right? This is going to be a nice nearly one for $1.50. So still very much in play. I just, unfortunately, might not be able to take it in session.
Yeah.
But, if this closes, let's see, below this price of 33.20, right? If it closes below 33.20 in the next 39 minutes, this trade is good to go.
Yeah.
So,
gotta wait for it. Like you said, it could just bounce up now and go back up again.
It could easily do that, and that's why I can't take it right? Because this could easily give you this beautiful, M pattern structure thing, play around a little bit. You're like, oh, is it down? Is it up? Is it down? And then boom. And if it does that, you know what I'm going to say? Whoa, good thing I didn't take that trade and I stuck to my rules.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and let you share that, Tiger.
Oh, yeah. So just kind of talking about what they said, it's a tough day. Look, anytime you get these red folder news events, it's just good to stay out of the way. So, I mean, there's some maniacs that love trading the news, and I've tried it a few times, and I've actually had a little success with it, and that scared me. So I said, well, this is literally like Russian roulette. I there for a while, I would place a trade, like a limit order, 10 pips below price, and I'd set a limit order of 10 pips above price. So whichever direction the news carried it, it would open that trade, and then I just X out the other one. You want to talk about stress? That's literally a gamble. So I don't recommend it.
Get a big flat before an event, and at least wait. I would say 10, 15 minutes minimum.
Yeah. So that's kind of
wait.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to kind of show. Like, if obviously right after it's going to be, you never know how long the volatility is going to be. But if I'm looking at the dollar Japanese yen, just as an example, I mean, you guys, anybody watching, you can clearly see before that news event hit, you can see what the average volume was, right? So obviously when that news event hits, and this is volume spread analysis, I kind of use it like a tick chart. Obviously, Forex doesn't have a centralized volume, so I just kind of use the VSA because it kind of helps, and it just shows me the activity during those times. So what I'm trying to say is, though, before that news event, I mean, you can see where the VSA was hovering. We get the spike, and then you can see where it starts to come down. This is a 5-minute chart, by the way. But as you can see, it's still elevated. It's still about twice as high as it was before. So, anytime they say wait till prices calm down, this is this is really one easy way of looking at it, is just seeing where the
Right.
current volume is relative to the volume right before the release. So, that's the tough period, Sulker, I think you were talking about, because it's like, well, when can I finally trade? Look, it just really, to me personally, is dependent upon when the volume kind of calms back down. But yeah, I just thought that would be a good thing to show. And Michael, I was in the exact same boat as you. I mean, there was a trade on the Aussie dollar I wanted to take. I did have on a 4 hour, you can see where price or that zone touched clearly was good, but it was right in the middle of that news release. I had a good one there. I had another smaller one here, and this just goes to show the power of the higher time frames. I think that was a 15-minute, if I just get rid of my master pattern real quick. But yeah, 15-minute zone. Okay, real strong zone on a 15-minute time frame, but the news event didn't care. Just cuts right through like a hot knife through butter. But then you get to the higher time frame demand zone, and it respected it. Right? So that you just never know. And this is what I've been kind of talking about on the streams lately. This is why I write up, 2 or 3 supply and demand zones, because you never know which one's going to hit and which one's going to cut through like a hot knife through butter. So, but yeah, no, it hit it. I mean, it hit it right on that minute, following on the 4 minute. And I was like, dang it. I know I should take this, but I can't break my rules. I just can't do it. And, like I said, hindsight is your most annoying. Because hindsight, I should have got in it.
Drop all the way down to the zone, immediately reverses everything.
Yeah, look at that 1 minute. I mean, it's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. But anyway, I did actually quick. I did get into my pound Swiss short. So just looking at it on a 15-minute, I had my limit order set for just outside of the zone after it curled back up. Had a nice, really nice candle coming out. It kind of wiped away the previous few candles on the 15-minute time frame. I mean, there's really a couple different ways to verify this. I mean, we had these slow candles going into the zone, and then boom, that big candle coming out. So that was a pretty good trigger candle there. But whether I use the 5-minute or the 15-minute candle, they both look good. So yeah, we're in a short sell on this one, and so now I've got 2 trades going. I got a Forex trade, and I got the Nikkei. But yeah, overall on a 4-hour time frame, daily, downtrend. Obviously, daily you can see it came up, went sideways, and it's curling over, so it's rolling over. So I like that price action on the highest time frame. But and then of course the 1 hour supply zone candle, all these unfilled orders are just chilling here. How do I know there's unfilled orders? Well, I don't, but just looking at the price action, price drop like crazy. So whenever that happens, that's a point of interest for big banks, for retail traders that like to trade supply and demand. Chances are price comes back up, people are going to be jumping right back in to catch another would-be drop. So, we're looking pretty good. We're just going to let this pound Swiss play out.
Nice.
See what becomes of it. I was just going to take a look at the finance section today. July is now off the table for the Fed. Odds of a rate cut.
That's not a surprise.
Separated. Wow. Yep. Yeah, that strong jobs report, definitely. So President Trump is not going to be happy about that.
No, he says that in the bottom there, actually. Below there, Trump. Fed's poll should
resign immediately. Yep. It's just comical. I mean, there's 2 ways to look at this argument, but I mean, he wants the rates, cut so that people can start borrowing money, growing their businesses, buying homes, get a boom in the economy. But at the same point, Feds historically don't really cut them until there's issues in the markets. But I don't know. I don't know. It's just crazy how you can have two completely opposite arguments between the president and the Fed chair. But yeah, this is a good place for everybody that's getting started just to go and take a look at the news releases of the day. Clearly right there, it shows the jobs report that we had. But be careful when you read the news, just like any news. Just because they say something is true doesn't mean it's true, right? So why I say this, I like to look at these news events so I can see what uninformed traders are probably going to do, because it helps me to look at it from the opposite.
So you do the opposite.
Observe the masses and do the opposite, right? So yeah, that's something that I don't know. It almost makes me sound conceited, but that's the reality. Most people are losing money, so we want to learn what they're doing and try to find
the opposite.
Try to do the opposite. That's really it. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. One other thing I wanted to tell everybody. I'm going to switch to my Twitter real quick. If I can. Oh, I am over here. Okay. So I don't use Twitter for anything social or X. One thing I like to use X for is strictly the news. I don't know if you guys have ever done this or not, but just like follow your favorite people, like Squawk to get the Bloomberg, Reuters. There's a couple traders that I like to follow. But anytime there's a major news release, I mean, it's added just like that on here. I mean, obviously you could go the, Yahoo Finance, or there's many other news sites, but there's people that are pretty quick about pointing things out on here. And then you can just kind of scroll, like whenever there's a news release and it's put it there, like right there, NFP opening bell. I mean, you can get some crazy stuff on there too, but yeah, I just thought I would point that out in case anybody's looking for a simple way to pay attention to your trading news. Just get rid of all your friends. All right. Don't use X. Like if I go yeah. So like, I'm just going to my followers. So, hey, look, I follow Hola Prime. But yeah, you could just kind of go down and find your favorite traders, follow the White House, follow all your favorite, whatever, COT reports, Forex Live, because I'm a currency trader, obviously, First Squawk. They're pretty good about getting immediate alerts sent out there. Daily FX, FX Street. I mean, that's really the idea, is just to use it as a money-making social site. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Gotcha.
So I just thought I would share that.
Right.
Nice. Right, guys, really not much to show my side.
No, that's definitely good. A lot of big traders on this.
A lot of what, Michael?
Oh, did we lose Michael today?
That's true. I was saying a lot of big traders. They're on very, very active. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. Nikkei's looking good. Nikkei's looking good. We'll take a look at that real quick.
Viewers, we still have, about 10 minutes?
Yeah, we got 10 minutes.
Yeah. If you got any questions, please let us know. That's what we're here for. Please ask. You want us to go through some charts?
Anything.
Anything.
Yeah, I'm just pull up my JPY trade again real quick. My Nikkei. Look at that. My Nikkei just flying up. I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, had a little bit of a scare on it. I did break up pretty good early on after I got into that trade. Started to slowly come back, and it looked like it was considering going against me, but this is where you just got to stand pat. I mean, every time you open a trade, it's automatically going to be in the negative, obviously, when it comes to spreads and swaps. But yeah, this is why I like to have a wider zone. This is why I like the higher time frames, to be honest. I mean, it just gives you more error, more wiggle room. But Yeah, all you need is one good report to turn things around. Now, this could have worked the direct opposite. If that would have been a horrible NFP, price would have come down. But nobody controls everything in trading, and you can't win if you don't try. You can't win if you don't put some skin in the game. So this is why we kind of talked about this the other day about not just getting into a trade and not being able to sleep. Drop your side and get some skin in the game. But yeah, you never know what'll happen. But you can't win if you don't play. I know that's how they advertise.
If you are worried about it, I think we also added to that you're probably trading too big sizes.
Exactly. Exactly. What's Bitcoin doing?
Well, it's at 109.
Yeah. Let's see here. Bitcoin looks like it's trying to break this. Oh my gosh, it's too close. Screen was going crazy. Looks like we had a little bit of a break here.
Oh.
All right, so daily breaking that little trend there. What we got? Look at on a 4-hour, lose my voice. On the 4-hour, it's kind of creating a little bit of a 4-hour zone. Now that zone didn't go very high, but it looks like it's still trying to respect it. I'm going to draw that up real quick. Just put me a little box around that. Let's see what we got on an hour. Ooh, what's Bitcoin giving me on the? Let's see what it's giving me on my screener here. Oh, I need to put Bitcoin on in crypto. Bitcoin has given me a neutral rating of a 1. So yeah, anything positive 4 to negative 4, I kind of avoid. Yeah. That was looking pretty good for a minute on Bitcoin, but I don't like it from a fundamental and sentiment point of view. Look at that. The big banks on the COT report actually sold Bitcoin this last week. So that's one of my favorite gauges before I get into any trade is what are their big banks doing? Now the big banks aren't always right, but they're right most of the time, and they're the ones that make all the money.
The ones with the deep pockets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if the big banks aren't doing it now, if all these other indicators were looking good in the favor of, then I'd feel more comfortable about taking a trade against what the big banks are doing. But yeah, you can see all the red to the right. So we'll avoid that. My top setup from a fundamental point of view is really the Swiss Japanese yen. I'm just going to take a quick look at that. Now, I use this software more so as, the higher time frame trader. Now you can use it. I mean, I still use it if I'm trying to find something on an hour or 15-minute zone or whatever. I'll just know to use it to stay in just the direction of whatever.
Yeah.
If it's telling me bullish, then I'm probably not going to be short selling it. So, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of use it more so for a higher time frame. So I'm just going to go see what the Swiss Japanese yen looks like real quick. Strong uptrend. Hide my drawings for a moment. Yeah, real strong uptrend. This might be one where on a fib level, I just, place a buy on the 38.2 level. If I can find something on a smaller, okay, what we got here? So red candle, we had, let's go down to a smaller time frame. 5 minute. Might have an opportunity in this area. Let's see what a 30 minute.
Yeah, nice. Narrow area there.
Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to kind of put a zone right here. I'm going to set an alert there, fellas. Let's see if we can get here within the next couple hours or so. We'll see if I can get an alert hit on that right there.
Cool.
If so, that might be a decent spot to trade. place a buy long order. Boom.
Nice.
It's a little higher up on the curve, but I'll be honest. Do you guys pay attention to like the higher time frame, what they call the curve? Have you heard of the curve?
No, please explain yourself.
Yeah, explain yourself. So if I'm just going to use the dollar index just as an example. I'm going to delete all this. I don't need any of these drawings. So let me just delete everything. Turn all my indicators off. On the higher time frame, there's something called a curve. So if I look on this and look at my swing points, swing high, swing low, which is current price, I like to imagine the Hungarian flag. What do I mean? Well, let's take a look here. I'm going to go pull up a picture of that and put it over here. Where is my Hungarian flag? Here, it's down here.
What the hell? Got it already loaded there.
So what the heck is this, Tiger? What is this? Well, this is just basically a way of seeing where I have permission to buy and sell on the chart. So you can see I have permission to sell a short sell or take profit at the points where it's red, and I have permission to buy where it's green, right? So essentially what I would use that for, if I'm on a daily over here on the right, so on the 4 hour, I wouldn't want to be trying to sell in this area. I'd want to be a little higher up on the curve, what they call the curve, because that provides the best risk reward trades. It really does. So do not sell in the green. Do not buy in the red. This is kind of no man's land where you can get chopped to pieces. So anyway, I just thought that would be kind of a fun visual to show. Anytime you want to know if you can buy or sell, just go to your higher time frame, find your swing high and low, put the Hungarian flag on there, and follow what the colors are telling you. That's where it gives the permission to sell. How's that? What do you think about that?
They might give you citizenship for that.
That's extra. I never knew that before. That's good.
And the key is like, let's just say you use a daily for the trend. Well, for me, I use the daily to find my trend. I use the 4 hour to find my supply and demand zone. So the curve I would do on a weekly. I would do on a higher time frame like that. Cool. Now, that's not to say I'm not going to take a trade if it's in the, if it's out of the color I'm supposed to trade in, but it just provides the overall best risk and reward, trades. That's really the point of it. That's really the point of it. So thought I'd humor you with that real quick.
Very cool.
Hungarian flag.
Right, guys, we got just over a minute and a half left. Do we have any questions from our viewers?
Anything?
Please do.
Stay safe. We've had a lot of news events, a lot of news, a lot of economic releases.
Yeah.
Just wait till that volume slows back down. That's really my best advice.
Robert, you still here?
Yes.
Gone to
wait.
Cheers, Robert. Have a good one, buddy.
See you later, Robert.
Hi, Robert. We'll see you,
yeah. I'll definitely be posting mine on Discord here in a little while.
Yeah, I'll jump on there in a little while as well. It's going to get home.
Yep.
But all right. We got questions, and I think that's it for us today, guys. James, Robert, and Solka, thank you for your questions. I hope you enjoyed the show. Have a fantastic July. If there's something that you do celebrate, a great weekend. I'm only back on Monday again.
And I'll be back tomorrow, the middle session. So,
all right, cool, perfect, good stuff.
And then I'll enjoy my holiday.
Cool. Michael, you have a good one. Nice seeing you as always.
Yeah,
Just
I'll be back
take
tomorrow.
care, buddy. All
All
the
right.
best.
All right, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
That's everyone. There we go. Hello, Paul G, Paul P, and Iris.
Oh, you said it. You said PP. You said PP. Iris, good to see you.
Anyway.
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, nice to have a party of 4 today.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And Mr. Gallows, of course. Nice to see you as always.
Paul, you're muted. I was as well.
Okay.
I didn't do that, I swear. But hi, everybody. Great to see everyone. So,
Hello.
Awesome.
Can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
We have the same stones. We have the same structure in our home, brick walls.
Well, this is an Airbnb, so I can't claim ownership, unfortunately.
Me neither.
Very nice. Well, how was everyone's trading day today?
I had one trade in the
Oh,
AM
good.
session. Yes.
Very, very good.
boring.
Not bad for me. It was a rough start, and then it kind of got better. And then sadly, I couldn't trade a US Open. I was a bit busy, but yeah, no, I finished green, so I'm happy.
Good.
How about
Nice.
you, Paul P?
Here we go. It's always going to be like this, Paul. It's always going to be.
One of you two are going to have to change your name, I think, just for the session.
I'll do it. It's fine. You just keep your name, Paul. It's fine. You deserve a chance at life. No, I mean, I had I have a rule anyway. I had a trade yesterday, and it was a couple of days in the making, and I have a rule that I don't trade 2 consecutives typically, especially not heading into a weekend like this when it's more about barbecues than profit potential. So yeah, nothing for me.
Hi, Lola. We've got
No problem. Well, oh yes, Lola Cowlitz.
Yeah, Lola is a regular
Apologies for
on
pronouncing
session
your name
2.
Oh,
So
okay.
she's getting a privilege of seeing all you guys as well today. So.
Awesome. Well, nice to see you again, Lola. Even though it's the first time I've seen you, but great to have you here. I'm sure Robert's in the chat probably.
Yes.
He's just been a bit quiet. Robert's always here. You can count on Robert to attend.
Well, I think he's working. I think he's working, and this is the thing. He's working when he's in these sessions, and I'm like, is that the right thing to do? Right.
Of course it is. It's
Of course
possible.
it is. We want everyone here.
Watching it.
We
Absolutely.
don't mind about his employment status.
Well, at this moment in time, I don't see any trade, but maybe this will change. Hopefully, in this live session, we can actually take some. But we've had such a crazy bull run on the S&P, and it hasn't pulled back really yet. So hopefully, there's a bit of a pullback at some point, and can actually grab a trade. But I'll go first. I'll
Yes.
jump and show what I saw. We also had some news come out today, which was
Yeah.
What was the news?
I used the news candle in this trade as well.
Well, we had the here I'll actually we had some data come out essentially, Paul. We had the ADP non-farm employment change, that was the non-farm employment change, and then the ISM services. And honestly, employment is doing better than expected. So with that being said, there was all this dovishness about the U.S. cutting rates lately, and honestly, if employment's doing better, I have a hard time seeing them want to cut rates any further. And I guess that's showing in the bond yields popping this morning. The short to midterm bond yields have popped a bit, so makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, all eyes are on September for me, to be honest. But given one thing which I caught was, again, just a slight escalation, perhaps, in the United States administration battling with Jerome Powell. And I do find that a little bit concerning. So I'm sure if everything's dovish today, that's great. But there's a lot of, I think this is the problem when we get some data, which is like, okay, but it's like, what's coming down the line, right? So I'm just hoping we don't have any, it'd just be nice to get to September without any craziness and just we have a nice natural rate cut and then everything's fine, as opposed to who's the new Fed chair? We don't want that.
So. Right. Agreed.
Absolutely. Well, where do I unpack this? This is a crazy bull run we had. So I didn't trade US Open, but I did trade a bit of pre-market. It was a very choppy day for me. I will post the results in Discord later. But yeah, crazy day. In terms of the main trade I took was actually just before the pre-market. Just before the US market opened. How can I do this? Because the volume profile has changed since then. So if I, in fact, get rid of the volume profile and make it look like how it looked when we started. So what time was that trade? That was 2 o'clock. So
your time?
Yeah, my time.
So 9 a.m. Eastern or 8 p.m. or 8 a.m.
Oh no, sorry, it was 1. It was 1. My bad. Messed it up. Okay, here we go. So as you know, I'm always looking for gaps in volume. There was one nice gap that finally got produced here, and I managed to catch the trade. Literally as it dipped in, I managed to catch it back up again. Obviously I didn't hold it for any of this, annoyingly, because didn't anticipate that to happen. But yeah, no, I got a nice little bull position in, and so I'm happy with that. In terms of the footprint, at that time it wasn't really that clear. We did have, like, pre-market was just typical pre-market. There was no real major big numbers, but looking over actually once the US opened, we did see some nice opportunities present itself, mainly with, so let's just go to US Open, which is here. It's the US Open candle. It's a nice big bullish one. Straight away, buyers came in very heavy, and they actually were able to push the market up, which is, obviously fantastic. So since they were successful in pushing the market up already, you kind of got that bias now that we're going to go up, right? If they came in heavy, but the market didn't actually go up, then you would have more of a short bias, right? So we did have this pullback. What's really interesting, actually, is this right here. So we had over 1,000 contracts on the sell side, and then another 600, right? And then look what happened as we pushed above those sellers. They started becoming trapped. And then again, a really clear sign, okay, bit of buy aggression starts coming in. Definitely you can jump in again. And that kind of repeated itself throughout the whole day. Again, sellers getting trapped, went above them. Sellers came in heavy. Probably more likely, in fact, a lot of buyers taking profit actually here. But nonetheless, if it's new sellers coming in, again, they're getting trapped and it pushes above. And then every time it kind of breaks above, you got those big buyers coming in, trading the breakout. So we've had quite a few opportunities to jump in on this bull trend. Hopefully that keeps up and we'll have something in this actual session that we can actually execute live, because that would be great. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Sadly, I couldn't trade it. I was off the computer, but we might still have opportunity, and there's a bunch of gaps being formed. So I really do hope. What I would love to see is it coming back down to here, and then I can buy it. But I'm doubtful it will drop that low anytime soon. This bull trend is very, very powerful right now, and they don't seem to be giving us much retracement. So hopefully there is some kind of retracement that we can catch. But until then, I'll keep my eye on the market.
Yeah. I guess, Iris, I didn't trade at all this morning, but I can kind of give my input on what I was thinking in the morning, at least really quickly, before you go to or did you trade the NASDAQ this morning, Iris?
What else? Yeah, it was a NASDAQ.
Yeah. I wonder if you're going to, I'm going to eventually venture out into the NASDAQ a little bit more bravely. Maybe you'll come over to our side as well and trade the ES.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. What about crypto? What about crypto? Iris? You're not gonna?
I do. Well, I'm a long term. I do have crypto charts. I just actually deleted a few just for the for our session because we don't discuss crypto. But no, I'm a long term investor in crypto, so I do follow the markets, but not as a day trader. But no, I love crypto. I can talk about that as well. So, but
this is what it's all about.
You day trade crypto, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do. I have been tempted by Forex, honestly, with some of the other coaches. It just, I mean, I know it's been quite exciting in the last few months, but as you know, the volatility with crypto does take its toll, every now and again. So maybe my holiday can be learning to trade the Forex market, maybe with a bit of support from Igor, maybe, I don't know. So
yeah, it is. It definitely ages you. I mean, Paul is only 21.
No, I'm 22.
Bitcoin has done a number on you.
If it was only a lie, it's just not.
But yeah. So as far as what I was looking for in the early minutes of the opening bell. We obviously gapped up over yesterday's range, so I was looking for either. I obviously, when we're going past all-time highs, our only reference points are essentially an overnight high or things below where we're at now, especially when we're gapping up above previous all-time high in the S&P. So a lot of the reference levels are lower, obviously, and so what I was hoping for was to see a little quick bull run, maybe of 10 to 15 points, and then a sell-off down to my areas of like the previous day high or value area high of yesterday, which was roughly in the ES. It was around the 62.75 range to then find support and push up again. That obviously did not even come close to happening. The gap is easily still there, and it doesn't look like there is any hint of that filling in this session, and who knows if it's going to fill next week. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But to be quite honest, I didn't feel comfortable even with seeing the volume come in. I thought at any second just a bunch of sell volume could come in and push down to try and test yesterday's range. So I kind of just stayed away. And then ever since 30 minutes after open, it's just been this slow grind higher, very boring market. So hopefully, something does change and we see a little bit of volatility, but fingers crossed that, but I don't have a whole lot of hope.
Okay. Shall I present shall I go over my trade? My boyfriend has been a good boy this week.
That's probably the time to step away from the charts.
Yeah, maybe that's a sign. Maybe that is a sign.
Yeah, I've got a very special relationship with NQ, so that's why I'm sort of like I actually fell in love with him. Yeah, I made one mistake one time. I called her she. I call my car a she, but NASDAQ is a him. Okay, here we go. Love is love. True. Okay, so I trade breakers. That's one of my favorite things in the chart. So here I have been backtesting the news candle, and I have been using some specific calculations if they match with some other calculations, and that did. And I'll show that in another slide. So this is my 830 candle. This is the whole width of the 830, and then it drove down. So I used this whole, started here. This was the top. And the 125 has been a very important level for me that came through my back testing. And I will show you the confluence that I have of my time-based indicator that I use. So this is the breaker here. It was a 2-minute breaker I used. It was a bullish breaker. We got here it's activated, and the retest was at 9:53 Eastern. So I got into this candle because activation of the breaker, and this is the first presented fair value gap after 9:30, which I also use a lot, and I consider this a retest. So I sort of like had high probability or conviction that we might not get down. It was not a clean 2R trade, I have to be honest, but I was like, okay, this is my macro time, 9:50 to 10:10. I had a retest of the 9:53. I lately really I want to ask you guys that in a later time. I lately just market order in a lot instead of limit trades, but that's something for another discussion. And this is my confluence. I mentioned this level, this AMRP level yesterday, and it matched with that 125, just tapping it. So I was like, okay, this is average model range probability, and this is the weekly one. So I thought, okay, we're such a bullish environment now. I am just going to take it to this 125 level instead of aiming for higher. So matching with my 8:13 news candle, having a breaker trade, I just market order in at this in my macro at 9:53. So I entered somewhere in this candle, and then I just took it up to this level. That's it. It was still a 50-point trade. So it was good enough. So I'm like, okay, I have no idea. Like Paul said, we have no data above. It can just only be fib levels, but we just don't know. It's just now, we're doing whatever. So so this was it, and I was happy with it to catch my breaker trade.
Beautiful. There was now when I'm looking at the NASDAQ a little bit more, I would have felt a little bit more comfortable getting into a NASDAQ trade than an ES trade, but I still wouldn't have. With me, I don't have a ton of experience with like market ordering into the NASDAQ essentially. So by the way, just for clarity, I market order like 95% of the time. I am market ordering
as well.
I'm not one to set a limit order and be like, okay, if it comes down to here, because I need to see order flow at the same exact time. I'm looking at order flow constantly. And,
okay, you do the same. Good. Okay, I'm not alone in that, because I was like, oh my god, why am I just I was wondering, and I was like, why am I doing this lately? But it just gives me a higher conviction, and it just my especially 9:30 in the opening, things are fast, and you just need to. I don't have all the time to prepare, because sometimes you just see things presenting itself, and then you see your model, and then you just have to. I just don't have the time for a limit order then. But you do the same. Okay. And what about you, Sam?
Oh yeah, a market order 100% of the time. I don't think I've ever used a limit order.
What room am I in?
Wow, I'm happy to hear that.
Well, look, complete respect, but obviously I'm trading a different market, and a lot of the stuff I trade, there is not necessarily a whole bag of liquidity, and therefore you end up having ridiculous average entry prices and that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, I get it, but I have a very strong rule about market orders. So maybe you can convince me otherwise.
Well,
no, I think it. Go on, Paul.
Well, Paul, you're talking about when you're trading crypto, right? Like, so when you're trading altcoins, So with liquidity concerns, you should 100% be having a rule like limit that. Orders. When you have limit orders, like that totally makes sense from a risk perspective. When you're especially for me, I don't even trade CFDs. I'm trading the liquidity of just the futures markets at their normalcy. Yeah. So I mean, there is just liquidity out the wazoo for me. So
no, I mean, Iris, I do miss like the ease of just being like, oh, click.
I'll get in.
I do miss it, but I just for safety. So I'm a bit I think it's just jealousy. I'm just jealous of all of you. That's what it is.
No, but crypto, I would never do this with crypto. Well, as Paul said, if I would start trading crypto, I would definitely look at my levels, because I would also, that would be more swing trading, I think. I might get into day trading, and I still might market order in, because, I do set my stop loss very quickly and my TP. So you still are protected, I guess. So I'm not sure. I'm just so confident in the levels with. I feel very safe with NQ. That's a bit weird to say because I've been trading it like for 3 years, and I journal like every day, and I don't journal only my trades but the market. So you get to a point that you really think, okay. You start seeing sometimes behavior, and it's not always the same, but it's sort of similar. And that's why I'm sort of like doubting, do I really want to branch out? Because I really get to getting very comfortable with one market. But yeah, I think I actually do want to get more into limit orders, because it means that I have been planning my trades better. So that I think limit orders is the part where I will think I'm going to improve my point of there is where my improvement will lie when I get into a trade. So I'm still trying to improve my execution. TP and stop loss also, but I think with the limit order, then I have a defined, I know, okay, this is where I want to get in, and either it hits it or not. And if it doesn't hit, it means I didn't plan my trade correctly, because it just didn't went into it, and then I will still market order in. But that's my thing that I do want to get to a point that I can get the same trade, but then with limit order. Yeah,
that's interesting. I think it's an important conversation. I mean, for people, for beginner traders, people who are working through the challenges, for some intermediate traders, I think it's a conversation when it's not something that I've got a lot of students who just market order it, and there's been a few horror stories as a result of it. But I think it's an important conversation. That it's all about the context. It's all know what you're trading and know whether it's appropriate or not. And obviously, with you guys, of course, it's completely appropriate,
right?
And that's fine. I just have these horrors. I just remember once I went through a period a few years ago of trying to practice catching out of control pumps. Right. And in crypto, obviously, they're crazy, right? So you're going up 110%.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out the strategy for doing that, for getting on that wagon. And it is very much, you need to be a stunt man. You need to kind of you chase after it. There's dust everywhere, and you've got to jump on the back of a truck. And it's really difficult. And every time I did like a market order, which is it's like, it just ends badly. I'm like, hang on a minute. I wanted to get in here. Well, why am I up here? What? I'm like, so... That's why I'm a little bit like, that's my rule. I don't do it, but maybe
no, you never do it with crypto, because there is then I think the slippage and the spread is just, I don't know, but I think it's just not, it's just different. I think with the NQ, not the CFDs, obviously, it's obviously a limit order will always be better, but it will not be that much of a difference when you enter on a market order, unless you're just in that in a news candle, which just can go spiking like for 300 points. Yeah, then you're really that's
bad. That's a bad idea. Don't be market ordering during a news candle for sure.
Yeah.
But I always set a stop loss in the moment I put a trade on, it already puts a stop loss in. And I in all honesty, on my live accounts, I trade micros. I do minis sometimes, but most of the times on live and on funded, I just prefer to trade with more micros, because I can play with them more, skill in, skill out, and stuff like that. Yeah,
that's really interesting. Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah. It's market specific and strategy specific. Like limit orders just wouldn't work for me, only because I would have to sacrifice one confluence, which would be the live order flow. Like I know the areas I want to target, so I set an alert for that area. Once it gets there, then I want to look for that, buy pressure or sell pressure or something within the order flow to actually click the button. But I mean, like in terms of like take profit, that's technically a limit order. So I guess you could say, I deal with limit orders. I mean,
you're fine.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah. So actually, we are.
Wow, Sam, are you seeing anything on the footprint by chance?
Because I haven't looked, to be honest.
We're starting to see some action
here. Go down.
The Dow is kind of starting to take a little bit of a dive, and the ES is following, but the NASDAQ's kind of holding up here. So,
we've got some bigger numbers on the sell side coming in, but I'm pretty sure that would be take profits. In fact, there might actually be a trade lining up. Let me just double check this. I haven't. It's good you made me aware of this, actually.
I've been darting my eyes to the left and to the right for the last 3 minutes because I was like, oh no, I think something might be happening.
Yeah, I mean, is that the point of control?
Mm-hmm.
Show the charts. Are you looking the Dow at the Dow?
No, S&P. I'm looking at the SPA 500, as they call it.
If you see me rubbing my neck a lot on the stream, I slept on it wrong, and man, is it giving me a hard time right now. Jeez,
oh boy.
Oh no.
Sorry to hear that.
Getting to that age, you know.
Very painful. Yeah.
Really? You get okay, fine. You play that card, that's fine.
So on the footprint, we do have some heavier sell numbers. I wouldn't really call that trap buyers. I mean, technically it is, but they're not really that big. 300, another 300. It's not huge. It's not the biggest numbers I've seen. We have got bigger numbers on the sell side, but again, I'm pretty sure that's buyers taking profit. So I kind of want to watch what happens for the next 5-10 minutes. There's no gap on trading view, but on Go charting, which is very similar to trading view, there is a gap. So I'm a little bit okay. Which one's right and which one's wrong now?
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure that's just down to the row size. If I increase the row size, I'm sure I'll see it on trading view as well.
We just saw a spike in the NASDAQ of like 20 points or so, and then immediately came back down, which is interesting as well. I could see people wanting to get short after that, possibly.
Yeah, there is a gap, but it's very high up. Let me see what the cumulative delta is saying, actually, because that sometimes gives you a bit of a clue, because you can figure out how many buyers are left in the market. So at market open, there were here's market open. There was 4,300 extra buyers, and right at the peak, we only had 5,600. So a lot of buyers actually got out already. So yeah, we're kind of most of the buyers of today have already exited their positions, which would mean that most of these big sell numbers are actually buyers taking profit. If that's the case, that doesn't really equate as sell aggression. So if we see buy aggression come in again, there could be a chance to buy the market. In fact, I don't want to trade this gap right here. It's just too high up. It's right next to the point of control. I want it to go a little bit lower if I really want to buy the market. And in terms of the actual move, it's not really that high up. The spread will take up most of it on the platform. So yeah, I'm gonna keep my eye on it, but I think there will be most likely a trade in this session. So should be all right.
I feel the same. I think there will be at some point here. I'm trying to get comfortable. To either make a trade on any one of these, either the Dow, the ES, or the NASDAQ, honestly. So I'd like to do something, but
how many monitors have you got there, Paul? I was just tracking your eye movements. I swear to God,
I've got 5. I've got 5 monitors. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like whoa.
I've got like market internals on one screen. I've got the ES on specifically just on another screen. Then I've got the Dow and the NASDAQ on another screen. And then I have my order flow, like DOM software on another screen. And then I have trading view on the last screen. So,
well, you got to check out my setup. This is my setup. You ready?
Yeah.
It's just you on my screen. That's it. That's it.
Beautiful. That's all you need. That's all you need.
That's all I need, man. Just you. I'm going to check in with Paul today. How's he doing?
Yeah.
You can't have a multi-monitor setup 5 being and that. So.
Yeah, I've been rocking this setup for a while. But I did promise my wife I will not add any more screens to make this room look like more of an abomination. So
You're such a liar. Why'd you lie to your wife? Why'd you lie to your Don't do that.
People walk into the house and they look and they're like, what the? Like, they're just this crazy setup here.
I'm a trader. See? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh, gosh.
Oh, dear. Well, that's awesome, though. I have 2 screens. One and another one. And that's it. 2 screens.
Rotten.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's all you need, really.
No, honestly, I mean, I need to, because I do a lot of traveling, it's just very difficult. But now I'm planning to kind of have a home base for the first time in a good few years. I am planning that because honestly, when I've had multiple monitors, just having, as an example, because I use Bitcoin as a barometer, and just having it just there, it does give you an edge because you can, as you know, you see what's happening in real time. And you might think, well, what's the problem with just flipping between different tabs? Well, your brain, there is a difference between doing it. So it is, I mean, you know, I may not be able to stretch to the number you've got, my friend, but
P, there are, if you travel a lot, there are extended monitors, traveling monitors that you can easily take with you.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of hard work.
You've got this thing you can clip on the back of a laptop, and then it folds out to 2 extra monitors. They're like really thin. It looks really awesome. I was thinking of buying it, but I would never use it, to be honest. But
I've got this
vision. Show you mine.
Yeah, but show me, please. I'm really interested.
I have to get it. Hold on, because it's. I still haven't. I'm not even using it at the moment. But let me get it for you.
Interesting. No, I've got this, you know, like these pop-up books. I've got this idea of like a MacBook where you open it and it just 6 screens. Do you know what I mean?
That pretty much exists. Not 6 screens, but 2 extra ones. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the Tony Stark
annoyingly
Iron Man version.
Yeah. Yeah.
One that pops
Screens,
up.
I want holograms. That's what I want. Holographic charts. Yeah. I'm curious to see what Iris is going to bring back now. This is exciting, everybody. This is what we call the tease.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the thickness.
Oh wow.
You see this?
That's manageable. I was wrong.
And then it's like so then you can like, this is the screen here, but I still have to still set it up like this, and it basically can stand on. If I do this correctly, it can stand like it's like a stand, and then I just do it next to my, and then I just connect it with a cable to my computer or laptop, and then you have an extra screen.
You must be a nightmare on a plane. You must be.
Me?
Yeah, it must be a nightmare.
I used to work for an airline, so why would I be a? No, I don't do this.
Put my monitor on your lap, please.
Yes, could you put your food away, please? Yeah.
Thank you, Iris. I'll check that out. That's really interesting. Thank you. That's really good.
Yeah, it's quite an old one actually, to be honest. So they must either they're really cheap now, or they are better and even. I don't know how big you want your screen to be, but it's if I travel with a laptop and then I have this, then I can still trade and do stuff like that. Yes.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. Wow. Thank you. That's very helpful.
That's awesome.
Well,
do you have stock in that company? Do you have stock in there? Is this a sponsor segment?
No, I didn't mention the name, did I? No, I'm just in a relationship with NQ at the moment. That's the but it's a bet, right? Yeah.
But the company would be probably part of NQ. It's probably a tech company, a big one that builds it. So technically,
there is a what brand is it? It is Asus.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's a US company. So all right, it's not part of NQ. No.
Oh well, it was a sponsor segment. There we go. Bye, Asus.
There you go. Okay, well, I'm the only one that's not wearing Hola Prime. I wonder if my package will ever arrive here in South Africa. I ordered a 4K webcam, and it was supposed to come today, and it didn't come. So I'm still waiting for that. But yeah, you know, it's sort of hard because the houses, we don't have postmen and things like that. It's either courier, but then you always have to be lucky that the courier can find the home, because it's not like a normal street. It's just like bush, and they made a few houses, and then the gates are sort of hidden in in a sort of street, but it looks like it's a dead end street, but it is not really. So cars they stop at some point, and then they don't call you, and then you're like, okay, did it come today or not? And so I have to check in again. So yeah, it's very weird when you come from the Western world and suddenly you don't have like, yeah, what's your address? Oh, actually, I don't have an address yet because we don't have an address. So, and then, you know, they make an address at some point. They just make up a Hippo Lane or something.
I'm sure it'll turn up. But, you know, honestly, it's interesting to have a conversation about equipment because, I mean, when we do podcasts and stuff, we talk about the news, we talk about, you know, what's hot, what the altcoins is. Maybe, you know, the psychology of trading. Maybe we need to do one on equipment, right?
Oh, definitely. I believe so. Yeah, because you want the good stuff, but also you don't want to have to. You don't need to. We don't need everything that we buy, but it's good to have some things because I actually came to this new place, but I've got my better computer is actually still in my storage in another town because I didn't know. Everything happened really fast with Hola Prime, so I'm thinking to drive back. It's a 12-hour drive, and get all my stuff. But then again, I can also think, okay, you know, I can also maybe invest in buying some stuff. So I love to hear about from you guys what you are having and what is, especially with what we're doing, you know, live sessions and stuff like that. What is really important? What is, you know, when we're going to use other applications.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot I'm sure there'd be a lot of things to talk about. Like as an example, like part of my setup, long since established, is TradingView for me is piped into my Alexa unit, and it has a series of customizable alerts. So it will say, Paul, your perpetual futures trade has met its price target or something like that. And it used to, like when I had a winning trade, well, my lights used to turn green just for a laugh, and it was really great. And I get alerts in the middle of the night, and these sort of things can actually help people, because one of the biggest things people have is like, I don't want to be at my screen all the time. I don't want to have my phone on at night, you know, and hear those beeping sounds. So yeah, I think, Sam, maybe we should organize a podcast for sure. And yes, Robert. Yes, hi Robert. Good to see you. And yes, Sam is here. We're very privileged to have the second session.
Hello, Robert. Good to see you again. So a quick update on what I just said earlier, trade-wise. It would have worked out to buy in that little. I don't know if you can see my screen yet. If I put it up.
Yeah, got it.
I have put it up. Okay,
almost.
That's good. Yeah. It would have worked out quite nicely if I did buy into it, but again, it wasn't the best trade. I mean, the bulls are very strong. People are quite aggressive. They're still buying, but I wanted a bit more of a pullback than that. But that area did actually hold. We saw a bit of trap sellers at the bottom, I guess you could say. But again, they only really came in the buyers kind of midway up from the high already. And then, so I don't think it's worth the risk. You know, if you jumped in around here and your stop is down here and then your TP would be the high, it's a negative risk reward anyway. So it just wouldn't have lined up, but sadly.
Yeah.
Hopefully it does pull back. I want a proper pullback, and then we got to trade.
Exactly.
But it might be one of those days where it just keeps going, and you can never jump in annoyingly as a scalper.
Yes.
Yeah, the Dow is
Paul.
is interesting. Yep.
You're on mute. Paul P is on mute. Oh, yeah. I saw your lips moving, and I was like, I couldn't hear anything.
It's not on purpose.
No, sorry, Paul, carry on. My mute interrupted you.
I was just looking at the Dow actually for a second, and I was getting close to feeling like I should take a trade here, but volume dictated otherwise. The Dow's the only one that's kind of like essentially all of the 1 minute. I'm on the 1 minute charts right now looking at them, and all the short-term EMAs that I have are bullish except for the Dow. It's like the short term has crossed over the longer term and is kind of making me feel like I could have a short opportunity here soon, but not as of yet. So
Yeah, you don't sound very convinced. So
I'm not. I need to see way more from the Dom than what I'm seeing.
Yeah, there's a trade lining up. It's looking really good. Your traders, catch yourself speaking like that, right? It's a warning sign for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Paul G, not Paul P, Paul G. On the depth of market, are you also seeing really big numbers, limit orders on the sell side, right at the high of the day?
On the ES, I am seeing not very
Just
big. I mean, I see about 230 right now on the sell side. So relatively speaking, compared to the other blocks, yes, it's large, but we obviously, as we know, that's like that's really not a whole lot.
Just before, there were pretty much every level. I don't know how many levels you see, but I have 10 levels here. Pretty much all of them had over 100.
Oh, okay.
And then it just dropped down nowhere. So I think a lot of people are getting out the market, especially at 3:30 on the dot. I think there's definitely take profit levels there where people are going to be exiting, taking their money.
Yeah, because right now, I mean, I can see every tick for Kingdom Come to the upside and the downside. So like right now I'm seeing
message me in the private chat how the software you used for that, because that sounds amazing. I mean, I can only see 10 levels. You see all of them.
Yeah, I'm seeing, I can see 50, 100 plus. So
you see the dark pools?
No, I do not see the dark pools, unfortunately. I don't see that. There is software that exists that I feel like can point the dark pools out, but I don't have that, unfortunately. But I am starting. We just went through that 330 level, and it ate up the 230 contracts there. And actually, there was definitely some sort of no, never mind. I was going to say it looked like there might have been like a little bit of a block order there, more than the 230, just hiding behind it, but there is not. And now we're just seeing 100 pile up, 107, 120. So sellers are entering a little bit at this 330 to 331 area for sure. And all the way up to 333, there was another 100 lot that popped up. But again, like, I'm used to seeing, when it was like, Sam, when you're looking at the ES2, I know you see, like, you'll see 800 lots and 700 lots and 1,000 lots. Today's not one of those days where you're seeing that because it's just a low liquidity kind of day. But when you see those, that's when you're like, okay, that's either going to be a magnet or that's going to be like a warning sign for buyers. Yeah. So, I have less confidence when I see 200 or whatever. Yeah.
They're eating up these limit orders, though. They're having next to no effect. And I can't see any iceberg orders. There's not like one price level that keeps getting refilled aggressively. So, I don't know. It looks like it's just very, very strong at the moment. It's annoying. I don't think we're going to have that pullback. I think the opportunity was that little one there, and that was it for this session. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will pull back a bit better. But
I mean, it makes sense, I guess. It totally makes sense. Shorter day, probably a lot. So many traders are gone already. So you just probably got algorithms just grinding each other up, and nothing programmed to do anything crazy necessarily, unless there was an out of whack news event that just popped up on a headline before the market closes. So I guess it's not too surprising.
Well, if something does happen, let me know. But I'm quite happy to go through. It's kind of, for me, it's altcoin pick day. So I have a selection of things to potentially trade in the coming days. If you'd like me to run through those,
that would be great.
I
do honestly, with you guys, I do feel like a bit of an alien because it's
no, but I love if you would go over the altcoins.
I mean, it's just like you guys are down in the intraday dirt, and I'm just like, next week this will be all right. But yeah, let's have a look. Let's go through some and see what we can do. Right, let's just check in with Bitcoin. If I can find the tab, it's very disorganized on these days when I'm doing like.
God, how many tabs do you have?
Yeah, look, everybody who comes in these sessions, he just busts me about it, right?
Ongoing.
There is just it's a turnover. I don't even have time to create a watch list, right? It's just a turnover. That's just the way it goes.
Paul, you need to donate some monitors to Paul Pico, because
please, I beg you. All I need is two. I just need two. So I'm a trader in need. This is Bitcoin 2-hour chart, and obviously I use a variety of different charts to get multiple perspectives on the market. Here is kind of a classic chart at the moment, which can show us where we've been and where we're going. But this one on the 2-hour, if I can find it again, is probably the most relevant, because we have this potential. Well, we've had this reversal pattern. Now, this of course is an inverse head and shoulders, but the issue is we have an ambiguous area here. So typically you would see a breakout of this sort of pattern, and you'd be like, great, it's confirmed to the moon. But we also have another kind of swing high here, which the price action has to overcome. And you can see it's been stopped. So for me, I really want to see it move above here for kind of that sort of confirmation, because you can see this is the range we want to be in. And of course, this is all-time highs, which are well within reach of another move. So we're just below, just a couple of thousand shy. But because, of course, there's going to be a lot of sellers in this area, we need to take precautions, and just jumping in here thinking we're going to the moon, we're going to 115K is not necessarily the best play. But if you do see a move up from here, then coming back for a retest of this support then makes a little bit more sense, because we've had the confirmation of the higher high, especially if we surpass all-time highs. But that's the play, essentially. This is my approach at the moment with a slightly challenging market, is to just write down on a piece of paper exactly what I want to see. And if I see it, I've got to trade, and there we go. But for me, of course, I don't typically trade Bitcoin. I use it as a barometer for the rest of the market. So if I've got an altcoin setup, which we'll go through in a moment, what I want to see, of course, is Bitcoin be around here, right in this area. Not right now. I want it to a higher high, then come back down, and then we've got a new buyers entering the market. And then I will look for my altcoin setup, see if my entry for that lines up, and then I allow Bitcoin to pull my altcoin up. And that's the idea. So there's nothing right now, but this is the sort of thing I'm looking for. And if it does break down and we do come back down here, we've got the 1 day around here somewhere. Let me just put up the 1 day on so we can have a look, because that's really the line in the sand. And I think it's very far down, just so many indicators where we are. Moving average simple. Let's just tag that on. Nice little trick for multi-time frame analysis, of course, is to put on moving averages from different time frames to just allow you to have a little bit of that multi-time frame analysis without doing too much of a stretch. So obviously this is primary trend support down here. So we're doing really well, the price action, but just ask yourself when you're looking at trades, no one should be really trading this weekend, a holiday weekend in the United States. We shouldn't be trading that. But when you're looking for next week, you want to know what you want to see from Bitcoin. And ideally up here and then down, great. But let's have a look at what setups we have this week. Now, we've been talking about Pengu for a while. It's been quite bullish. We've had a lot of nice volume, and we had this breakout with across the moving average and this diagonal support. And of course, we're not in the market's not in the condition where we can start chasing this, presuming it's going higher. So this is the ideal place to be. And obviously, if Pengu takes its time coming down, this moving average should give us nice confluence, and that would be a lovely little trade. Obviously, you don't want to. Obviously, if it moves up from here, some of you might be thinking, well, okay, well, if we get a bullish breakout from here, then this is great to come in here. But for me, in the hesitant market, you need to avoid kind of any kind of house of cards type approaches. And therefore, I definitely want to see this retrace first before I'm going to make any kind of play up here. And there's another context as well. This is a larger time frame, or is it? Yes, slightly larger. And there's a couple of handle in play. And as you can see, this is a great place to enter front running a move before a breakout. As the market at the moment is very stop, start, the altcoin. So I wouldn't be thinking, oh, we've had the neckline of the come and handle confirmed, therefore I'm going to enter and it's going to be a solid play. Not with this level of air. So at the moment, Pengu coming down here. I mean, feel free to jump in, guys. I mean, what's your thoughts on this sort of setup? Any conflicting ideas?
I'm going to trust you with it, because truth be told, the way you trade and the way I trade are very different. So yeah, I mean, it looks like I had no problem with what you said. Everything looked like, yeah, Looks good.
Well, that's no fun,
But
Sam.
it's
It's going to be much more than that. Come on.
I mean, what I was like staring at, I couldn't help but to stare at. I don't know if it just tickled my fancy here with all the lines and whatnot with the parallel. You had your channel, you have your 6-hour channel there, and then you had the I don't know what moving average you have. That's the yellow. Okay, the 200. When that channel met up with the 200 there in mid-June or early-ish June.
Yeah.
Did you feel confluence to like short there possibly or no?
No, I mean, look, there's a bit of it. No, this is the problem. This is the issue we've got at the moment. We've got a seriously conflicting market. We've got a bullish Bitcoin, which is seen as a great store of value. Retail supply is being eaten up every single day. But then we've got the rest of the market, which is a risk asset, which is not doing great. And a lot of tokens are in negative price discovery. So you would think that, okay, great, there's a lot of short opportunities, but the problem is that there isn't either, because every time Bitcoin makes a bullish move, it pulls everything up and then it just resets afterwards, making it very challenging to do either direction. So Bitcoin is bullish, and that's the direction we want to try and trade. Obviously, I had a short last week with Doge, and I had a long this week with Theta. But it's what moves you can find. But I wouldn't have done that. I mean, this was a bit of a controversy, because I was saying that this cup and handle has long since invalidated, right? Because for me, losing this horizontal line and the moving average essentially has just reset this pattern. However, Michael and a couple of others had a dissenting opinion, so I relented. But there is an argument that this move is nothing to do with this handle now, and it's just a straightforward breakout. But no, I mean, you could have shorted that, but it's really difficult right now, and you need to have a very clear. I mean, the Doge setup, which was a short, it was very obvious. It was right when the war was kicking off. It was very obvious that, because you've got situations. How many scenarios you got? You've got fear and uncertainty lead to the altcoin markets bleeding, and if you get Bitcoin at resistance and then you get a lot of negative news, then that's what allowed my Doge short trade to play out. But I'm not shorting that much at the moment, if that asks your question. But it would have been an okay trade for sure. But you can see we're messing around with different support lines. I mean, Iris, I mean, your thoughts?
Do you use fibs for crypto?
Yeah.
Like 0.38 level and the 68 2? Because I'm just wondering if you would have this whole range calculated in Fibonacci, where would be the 38, for example. I would take the lowest, because from the bottom or the top when you take it. Not that one. No, I would take the lower one. The whole. No, so go back to the left.
Okay.
I would. I'm curious about this whole. The whole range down. So the bottom to all the way to the top. So if you would make it, what hour you're on the 6 hour, right? Make it a 12 hour, for example. And just the bottom to the top. And I just want to see the Fibonacci's.
Let me just help you out a little bit. Let's just sort this out.
Oh, right from the top of the.
Yeah, because that's the whole range, and yeah.
So from the top, so to the left, more to the left.
Yeah, also the left, not this one. I'm more curious how far can it go upwards?
In this
so all the way. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. That top.
I mean, not that top. I mean,
no, just that one. Exactly. That's the range I would like to see, and I would like to see the fib levels.
Yeah, let's have a look. See if we can get you some answers. Yeah. So, in terms of retracement from that, I mean, let's just.
Could you move it the other way? Reverse it.
Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think that's it. To be honest, I think that's it. Hang on, where we go? Naught.
There we are.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. So the 382 is very important, and we're not too far from the. You got the numbers underneath, right? Yeah. So you're quite near the 38.2, and it's also in a fair value gap. So that's interesting. That will be a level of interest for me in this situation. That's fair value gap, bearish, so it could reject from there.
Mm-hmm.
Still have some room to the upside, I would say. We're above the 2772. That's one of my favorite ones in the FIP country, 2.7.
Yeah.
Volume.
Sorry, say again.
No, so I was sorry. I was going to say, look at that volume recently compared. Like that's a lot of volume trading.
Yeah, but let volume be your guide for sure. I mean, with fibs, I use them all the time, of course, and I think I probably wouldn't have put them on like this, even though, of course, it all makes sense because maths, the context of the market as well. And I find the issue with fibs is that I use them if I need them. I don't tend to put them on all the charts because I find it can be quite distracting and it can manipulate my thought process. So if I see like a golden zone, it starts making me look at the trade differently. So if I've got a question I need answering about levels and which one is more important, then I'll put them on. But I only put them on if I need them. I think just that's my approach. I know a lot of people just use them all the time, but for me, it's very contextual, if that makes sense.
It is definitely, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's Pengu. I got tons of setups. I mean, and this is the game. And we talked about limit orders, market orders. It's all at the moment. It's a game of come to me, please. Right? Just
but if I would look, if I think it still has a little bit room to go up because you see this green big candle that I consider liquidity. So I would think, and because the 382 is nearby, it's in a fair value gap. So you stack your confluences. I would find maybe look for a trade to the upside still in this trade. Yeah. Are you long? Are you looking for a long, or are you already out of your trade, or are you already done with Pengu?
No. Looking for a long here.
You're looking for a pullback, right? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that's awesome if you can get that, and then more. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the issue is, of course, you can say like, yeah, okay, we could have a breakout for sure, right? But I'm just, because the market is very stop-start and reset at the moment, and the money flow just isn't going in the right direction. Bitcoin dominance is an example. I try and avoid at the moment these sort of house of cards, kind of these just, I really want to see organic price action. And if it continues up from here, great, but I'm probably not going to buy the retest there. There's just too much air below it. So maybe if we had a stronger break, a stronger move like this, then it makes it a little bit more tasty. But right now, very, very cautious and just trying to. I mean, if it doesn't come back here, I won't trade it. It's as simple as that. But I'll have 4 or 5 different setups, and one of them will come into play. But yeah, that's quite interesting. Always, I think this is why I enjoy doing these sessions, because I learn stuff and I get different perspectives, whilst everyone else does, because it's not just my way or the highway. So that's great. Pengu, Trump. Trump token. Again, different look. We're cooking on the stock on this one. And the breakout was pathetic, to be honest. And we're right at the bottom. So the only play, and it's a meme coin as well, right? So it's like, it'll just go when it wants to go, right? So this is the bottom, essentially. This is the only real play. It's showing a lot of weakness, but you can come in here. You're going to have first touch buyers on the bottom of support, right? Because they haven't been there since April. So the only play here would be really, I think, this sort of setup, and it would just be a range trade once we come back down here, just to capitalize on just a little bounce from here. Very similar to this. That's the only play with Trump at the moment, because it's looking quite, the Trump token, excuse me, because it's looking quite weak. But there, that's Trump. Only mentioning it because we're coming near the bottom. This is another one, just wait for a retrace kind of play. There's very few altcoins at the moment which are giving us these higher highs, surpassing previous highs, which is bringing a lot of people to the market where a lot of things are just bleeding dry. So there's not many of these setups at the moment. So again, coming in here with nice confluence, following a golden cross with maybe some oversold conditions, that'd be a good play with SEI. And obviously, it's quite an important token because it's underpinning a lot of meme coins on the blockchain and so forth. So yeah, this is why it's getting a bit of attention, and we've got clearly see the trend change, right? Higher low, higher high, it's all confirmed. So this is the first play when the trend has been confirmed. I'll speed up a little bit because Sol, again, looking weak, but you can see we're just below a moving average, and I know a lot of people love to trade Solana. Robert, are you here? Because Robert's got some issues with Solana. We're trying to get Robert's had some bad trades with Solana, and we're trying to support him psychologically so he can come back. He's like, get back on the horse, right? Because it's like you should never be afraid of a token, right? So yeah. So Robert, if you are watching, if you're not at work, then this is maybe the trade for you, right? Wait for Sol to come above here, maybe run straight into resistance, okay, right into resistance. Then we've got the moving average underneath, come back in here, right? And if you can do a little bit of work on it, of course, maybe want some more confidence, bit of divergence perhaps, but ultimately this might be your recovery trade, Robert, just coming in here, but that might be next week or the week after that, but not an A setup at all. That's a probably
100x.
yeah.
It's gonna jump in now, 100x. Oh my God.
Don't.
Is that what you do to the crypto people?
Is that what you said?
Okay. Yeah, it's going to jump in 100x.
Now remember, we don't want you to jump on the horse when the horse isn't ready, right? Okay, so let's get the horse out of the stable. Let's get it all saddled up. Let's get everything. Get your chaps on, right? And then we'll play, right? And only if the weather's good. So but maybe lining up.
Just walk with the horse a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you should never be scared of anything. You should never be scared of a token. But I get it, right? I get it. You get burnt by something, you don't want to touch it, right?
So, Pia, I have a question about Solana when you're done. I noticed something, and I want to hear your opinion on that.
Go for it, please. Now, let's do it.
So I do watch the market because I have a bag, not a bag. Well, it's since 2018 I got in. Mainly utility coins. So I watched the market and also Solana. And was it 4 months ago? I think it was 3 or 4 months ago. I noticed that Solana was actually moving while the rest was, even Bitcoin was not really making a move. And I was thinking, like, is actually now Solana being the indicator for what's coming? Because it was like Solana was already like getting bullish. It was already breaking out, and the rest was not. And I think it was about 3-4 months ago. So I don't know if you noticed anything similar to that.
Yeah, well, so this was the election around here in the United States, and this was the bounce after the election. Now, of course, we have first movers in the market. Now, if you look, let's try and use some pop culture references to make it a bit easy for people to understand. Let's think of that Marvel character Thor, right? He had like a band of merry men, right? So if you kind of like his favorite kind of warriors, and if you look at Thor as the king, right, and he takes the lead, he decides everything, but you've still got Ethereum, you've still got Solana, even SEI now, and like maybe Dogecoin, even not as a leader, but you've got these sort of things. When people say crypto, you think Solana. They always say it's like Solana. They say Solana just like a reflex. Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and all of these tokens are kind of that band of merry men, whereas they're not necessarily leading the market, but they lead their own spaces because, of course, they have a massive use case and they're an umbrella for lots of other tokens like SEE as a blockchain, which are the main coins are on, and same with Solana, and of course, the same with Ethereum. And therefore, they're very relevant when they move, and they always get a lot of attention first. So I think it's more about that as opposed to becoming being market leaders. And unfortunately, we haven't really seen any consistent decoupling of the altcoin market from Bitcoin, which does happen, Iris. It does and that's unfortunately what we haven't had this cycle. Usually about 240 days after the halving, you will see Bitcoin making moves, and then the rest of the altcoin market will just do its own thing and just go to the moon and put crazy percentages, even if Bitcoin's just going up and down a little bit, because just the sheer momentum of the money entering the market. But we haven't had that, unfortunately, and therefore we haven't witnessed that. And then you might see, like Solana, the last cycle, I mean, I witnessed it almost give birth to its modern self in terms of market cap, because it just turned from a tiny little thing into a huge thing in just a few months, and now it's such a big player. So it's more a case of like there are these band of merry men which we all think of with crypto, and therefore they get a lot of attention and they're first movers. But unfortunately, I think Bitcoin is still very much the one holding the hammer for now. But interesting insights though. I think you're right, and I think it's part of the problem is when you, like Robert was talking about Solana, of course, it's like the things you think of and you feel, and there's a nice high cap to trade. It's got a lot of use case, so it's safe, right? It's got lots of previous price action, so they're the first to move, as opposed to maybe a low cap, which takes its time getting started.
The chart. I like the Solana chart.
Yeah, well, it's holding its own for sure, and we're approaching the bottom of this bullish range, so there's a good few opportunities. But if you think the crypto market right now can't come all the way back down here, you're wrong, because it could. And I think you always have to approach the market like that. I'm not saying it will, but you have to have a healthy dose dose of skepticism. Guys, do you want me to stop or shall I continue? Because if you want to,
no, you have more. Go ahead.
Are you sure? I feel like I'm
not much happening on my end, so by all means, continue. This is very interesting.
I'm looking for things, but it's difficult to find anything right now.
Yeah, well, I'm only geared up today because I've been doing a video, so I've got everything in the right order and all going and stuff. And I mean, this is an example. Look, we look at BCH, right? It's this breakout. It's so meager. It's just like it's like crawling out of a well, right? It's just like, and it feels like it's just going to collapse. So again, is anyone going to? How many people are going to enter here, right? So there is a play here with BCH, Bitcoin Cash, Crypto OG. There is a play, but again, you want the probability in your favor at the moment. We've got a very uncertain market, and not many things are moving. Most things are just doing this, right? And it's very difficult to trade. Therefore, wait and see what happens with BCH. You want something, maybe you want to surpass that high, come up here, and then of course you've got a lot of retrace below to then come in, and a lot of buyers will turn up then, because you just have to ask yourself, what's going to make the buyers turn up, right? This move is not going to make the buyers turn up, but a bigger move and surpassing these previous swing highs will give people more confidence to come in. But if you look at previous breakouts and previous price action, this one, it doesn't really respect these ranges, unfortunately. So therefore, you do need to really stack up what you want to see, and even you might want to see some divergence and a lot of multi-time frame confluence on this trade, because it's just not showing a lot of strength. But that's Bitcoin Cash. Quite nice to actually talk about Bitcoin Cash because it's been neglected really, because it's quite old. Sand, again, potentially this is the sort of setups you want to have in your back pocket. These moving averages we've been stuck underneath for a while, and you see when we get above it, then that's when we have some fun. And here we are again, looking for a breakout. If we get a nice move from this, if Bitcoin does start giving us some stuff and risk assets feel like a little bit more of a playground, you want to see something like this, right? And then come back down, allow this golden cross to happen, and then come back down in this area. Ask yourself, what do you want to see? And right now you need to see a lot, right? And it all needs to line up for you to do that. But lots of things lining up. Nothing right now, I don't think. Well, there might be. Let's have a look. What's XRP doing? Nothing right now with XRP.
I want to know that.
XRP, are you invested in XRP, Iris?
Yeah, I actually changed all my sandbox into XRP this year. I'm heavily invested in XRP. Yes.
Well, look.
Actually, more in XLM. I'm more XLM actually, but because I got in XLM in 2018. But this year I actually went over my portfolio, and I still have BCH, I think, but I moved everything, like my Zcash, all those things that I thought, I just changed everything to XRP. I've got ADA. Okay, tell me.
No, I mean, I'm fascinated. I'm like, because you've got into crypto before me, and I'm kind of a little bit jealous of like, because I was like,
okay. I got into VET. I bought VAT for 0.000 something. I have 300,000 VET when it was. I think I didn't even spend over $50 for that.
Yeah,
wow.
That was the time I got in. Yeah, and I still have it. I'm like, okay, so that's my little. It's my pension plan, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so. That's, yeah, I mean, look, for me, it's 2019 when Bitcoin turned from a few $100s into 19. I didn't know anything about trading, and I don't
have any Bitcoin, by the way.
What you say? Sorry.
I don't have any Bitcoin. I was one of those people that had it, and I didn't buy pizza with it, but I had no idea.
Well,
so,
I mean,
you still have it.
Pizza or Bitcoin? No. Look, obviously, I mean, I bought Bitcoin when it was 6K and sold it close to 69K, right? So great returns last, and I was in XRP 10x for me, right? But I certainly didn't get in earlier than that. And I just felt like all I knew is that 2019, I don't want to ever miss out on something like that again, ever. And then I got lucky with when I invested in the right time, just after the pandemic, got in at Bitcoin at 6K, didn't get it at 3, saw it at 3, didn't buy it. and XRP 10x for me, BNB 50x for me, and that's the game. So I mean, if you really want to get into crypto, go easy on the weekly trades, right? And just plan your entries in the 4-year cycle, or rather when everything's low, and it'll make you a lot of money, right? It's as straightforward as that. So follow Iris's tact, right? She's, just with your baller moves.
It's my long. It's my long. Well, I've got ETH, and I'm still, thanks to even when it down, it was so algorithmically to the lowest level, but then it just bounced off. And I've got high conviction for ETH that it will do pretty well at some point again.
Yeah.
And then I hope ADA. ADA is one of my favorites. What are your thoughts on XRP and ADA?
Well, look, I'm grumpy on XRP. I've been really grumpy on XRP for a while, and it 10x last cycle, and I was invested in it because I was using the Santander Bank One Pago FX app, which was essentially one of the first use cases for Ripple. And unfortunately, because of the SEC stuff at the time, they canned it, and it was a wonderful app. It was a fantastic use case, and I was all about it. But the issue I have with XRP is a market cap issue, and when you think of what is it going to take to get to $10 or $100, which people like to think of, it's an incredible amount of money to get it there. And some coins and tokens have obviously better maths when it comes to stuff like that. And obviously Bitcoin is deflationary. But I'm grumpy on XRP, not because I don't think it's not a tremendous use case and it's going to be a strong leader. There's better things which I think can give me more take home in terms of its potential. Like you said with VET, right? I'd prefer to come in at tokens. I have a spread, of course. I don't miss out mid caps, but I prefer to. I don't see XRP giving me the gains which I want from a long-term investment. And that's not to say that.
Yeah. What about the ETFs that are coming? Is going to take partially. There's already they're already doing. Real estate exchanges in the Emirates, so on the ledger. Swift is going to be, I think it will take a part of Swift. And there's also a market cap multiplier. I don't know if you heard about that on that you can use with the XRP calculator. It's not like one-on-one. It's not like the old calculation doesn't really apply in that situation anymore.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. I've been deep diving into XRP, and that's why I chose to. But the only thing is that why is it, if everybody is buying it, why is it's so suppressed at the moment? It's just crazy. It's just really absurd. It's a crazy cycle. I mean, I used to live on my crypto, but I can't at this moment.
Yeah, look, I think you're right about the ETFs, right? That is a game changer because, of course, back when I was thinking about this was 3 or 4 years ago, and it was before ETFs. It was before the prospect of institutional adoption, and it was in the face of lots of lawsuits and all kinds of stuff trying to stamp out tokens like XRP and just get them off. Like Coinbase dropped it for a little bit, right? So, but if you look at its price action now, the concern is with XRP, we have this transitory space, right? Very significant transitory space all the way down to about 0.4, right? And this obviously, we had an inverse head and shoulders. It didn't. We had a bear trap, didn't play out, and it's still holding its own. But the whole market is oppressed, and it can only take so much. It can only take so much downwards pressure. And if we do have a move lower, and something happens at the wrong time, then we're dropping really quickly. Right. And this is nothing to do with the health of XRP. I genuinely believe that
everything.
Your perspective probably on XRP is probably more realistic because I know I'm really grumpy on it. And I probably need to. Maybe we should have
it's long term. It's a long term. I wouldn't mind, but I'm with you. Like, things are so crazy. So it's a long term thing for me. But then again, short term, I am also like, I'm just very like, you know what, it's okay. I'm not even going to, I do look at the charts, but I'm more interested in NQ and other things because I don't like how crypto is behaving at the moment. It's bloody annoying. But I like to talk about the charts though. But as an investor, I'm like, you know what, I'll look at you once, twice a week. But I'll go back to my boyfriend.
I mean, look, it is difficult trading, and I
it's
think
very hard. Yeah,
I've just put this range, right? And right when the markets are like this, you've got to be like, this is where I'm going to get in, or not at all, right? Or not at all, right? And what this is a more obviously a short-term play, and we're trying to find some trading setups for people. But everything for me at the moment is going to have a slightly bearish slant, as in I'm presuming it's going to come back down. So we've had this breakout of this pattern. We've retaken the 4-hour 200 MA, which is not the most significant iteration of the 200 MA, but we've got a lot. We're right in an order block, and I see us maybe kind of drifting down here. And if we can just come into this little pocket at support of the range, it's very ambiguous, but with a little bit of support from buyers here, and maybe we can get a moving average to come down with us if it comes down slow enough. There is a little play just from here to here, maybe, right? And that's just a setup. But unfortunately, it is a bit of a kind of trying to find these setups and just waiting to think like, you know what, this probably won't play out, but if you see this, and this at this point, exactly at this day, then great, let's do it. Otherwise, we need to see something else. And then again, it's like waiting for something like this, surpassing the swing high, and then coming in with a bit more confidence for a straightforward retest. But confidence is a difficult word with the altcoin market at the moment. And therefore, it's very, you have to play it by the numbers. So your advantage at the moment is to do what I have and have a ridiculous number of charts open, and then you've got 20 setups which are all in play. Maybe 5 setups are if Bitcoin does this, 5 setups if Bitcoin does this, and then one of them would work and line up with the rest of the market. And it's just strength with numbers. But yeah, maybe you can be more positive on XRP, maybe.
I want to share something. I use this digital time theory indicator, and I also use it with XRP. And I do want to share something with you, which I find really, really interesting. In regards to, well, let's just take XRP. It doesn't really matter which one. And so I am sort of like, well, I don't know if I really want to say I'm bullish or bearish, but I want to share something interesting with you, and I want to hear your. Unless you, is there anything in the other markets where you want to go over, Sam?
We've all got stuff.
No,
this is interesting. I want to hear you, Iris.
Okay.
It's still very.
So this is the digital time theory. This is the weekly. So we're just zooming out on the higher time. I'm using the 15, but I can. These are the weekly root candles, and you see how it's bouncing exactly in these, and you see it's respected this root candle as well. This is the AMP low. So this is a probability that it could go into here, right? So, but then it has to break through this root candle, and then through here, and then in this AMRP level.
Yeah, that's
so
the zone, I think.
Yeah, and it's. You think it's going to go into this AMRP level?
That's the same kind of zone we were looking at. The top of that box is the zone I was looking at for a retrace. So I'm glad you see that as well. That's good.
Yeah, and you see it tapped into here and it's rejecting now. So I see a bearish move coming as well. But then again, it has to break through this root candle. Yeah, it's interesting. But what? Yeah, you know, it's not a nice thing to be in as an investor if you want to see your returns. But unless you were in at 50 cents or even less.
Well, maybe makes you excited to be able to get in at a lower rate. If you know, maybe buying at 220 is exciting because if it then goes down to 50 cents again, you can buy that hand over fist. If you think in 10 years time it'll be, you know, $10 or so, like it could look at it with starry eyes and be like, oh my gosh, finally. Even if you are losing on your position, you can. So if you're an investor, I think that would be the dream scenario.
This is the thing, isn't it? It's like I'm still lamenting at the fact that I didn't buy Bitcoin when it was 3.5K, right, in the pandemic crash. But people in the future, when Bitcoin's like $1 million and XRP is like $100, I mean, okay, I'm still don't fully believe it, but it'll be like, well, God, I wish I'd bought Bitcoin at 100K. God, I was so stupid, right? And it's like, so it's everything flattens out at some point, right? Especially with crypto. So yeah, but I would prefer $0.50 XRP for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also have a yearly calculator. Let me put that one on. Then I go to the 4 hour, and let's see what the yearly. So the blue lines are the yearly calculations. So we are now in a yearly root candle, and you see how close they are. So we're most likely until Friday, 4th of July. Oh, it was almost 4th of July. Then it might go into, this is the mid of the weekly. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised we go back, we ping pong from this MRP to this level here, and then hopefully somewhere here, and then go back up, I hope.
Yeah, that's the play I have in mind. So I'm glad it all syncs up. I always like it when other people come in from a different perspective and see the same thing. It's all good. So that's we should have more sessions together, Iris. I think I'll
love it. Yeah, sure. Yeah, well,
I have another. Paul, we had talked about this before. How like when I was looking at Bitcoin when it was at like 18,000, when it had that dip from 60,000 down to 18,000, and I was considering, I was like, I could genuinely buy a full Bitcoin now and like hop into the crypto market for the first time. And if I felt confident in anything, it would be Bitcoin, I guess. So, and I was like on the fence. I was 50-50. I ended up not doing it, and now I hate myself. So then I started looking at just others for the sake of just being interested in crypto and whatnot. And I was looking at XRP when it was at like 45 cents or something. And then obviously I hate myself again now that I haven't gotten into that. So now I think the next one that I feel genuinely interested about, and I just want to put a little bit of money to work, like nothing crazy, but like to where I won't feel, regret for not, giving it a try and doing a little bit of research. I'm going to do it. I'm definitely going to do it, and I'll let you know when I do it. But XRP was the last paper cut for me of not joining in on a bull move. But when you talked about, having some grudges towards XRP in the other session, I was like, all right, maybe I need to take a step back and look at this market a little bit more and, do a little bit more research. So,
well, my only tip for you, Paul, would be to keep it simple in this case, because the beauty of crypto is it will always give you another opportunity. So you want to wait till everyone is screaming and on fire, and then you be like, you know what? I have this in my savings account. While everyone's screaming and all the candles are red, I'm just going to quietly scoop it up and then laugh in a few months' time when everything resets. That's the play, I think, probably for you, because you're a busy man, right?
I don't yes. Yeah. Like that's exactly what I think I got to do. I got to wait for the fire sale, scoop something up, and then just let it ride and not look at
wait for the words Bitcoin has been hacked and then just go for it. Right.
Oh my God. People, I don't know what your thoughts are on, the ledger being like extremely safe and everything, and like I don't know how much you've read into like the quantum technology that's coming, and like how easily it could crack things and whatnot, but that's quantum has been talked about forever, though. That's the whole thing, is like quantum technology has been talked about forever, and nothing has ever come up to like bring anything into worry about, I feel like, cryptocurrencies and like safety of wallets and all that stuff. But do you have any concerns in regards to like safety of wallets? And obviously hard copy wallets are safe, right? Because you have it on you, and as long as somebody doesn't steal it from you and knows your whatever passcode or to get in, you're fine, right?
Yeah, I use a Nano X, and I have lots of safeguards to keep everything secure, using, like, I don't know, I can't give you the secrets, of course, but it's all very well hidden. However, the problem is at the moment, because the market is the way it is, I started a few months back, well, before I realized the altcoin season isn't maybe going to happen as it planned to, I started busting stuff off to the cold wallet or whatever, and now I want to take it back off because I've got positions I want to repo, I want to move down, right? So I haven't got most of it's on the exchange at the moment. But in terms of security, the biggest problem is, look, it's the same with Hola Prime, right? Just on Discord and stuff, like, every group, every every entity will always try and manipulate people in convincing you that they're, oh yeah, I'm from Hola Prime, or I'm from Ledger, or I'm from Google, or whatever. Give me a password. And I get them every other day, and you just have to be aware of you're not going to get an email asking for your seed phrase. And the human condition is ultimately the thing which jeopardizes people, either forgetting it, losing it in a landfill somewhere, or whatever. Most of the time, in terms of basic security, you're okay. You're fine, as long as you not download. But there's a lot of things. It's like, for example, there was a replica Ledger app on a nefarious Android app store, which pretends to be it, and people can download and think it's an official, which goes to the whole conversation with the EU forcing Apple to have third-party app stores, which is a security threat. But ultimately, in terms of quantum computing, I am concerned about it. Everyone's concerned about it, and they're trying to mitigate it for Bitcoin, but we're a ways away. But we're going to hit it. It's going to happen, and then all of a sudden, all of our modern everyday encryption is just going to be like just a paper, just ripped up. I don't need to doom make everyone think like, oh my god, the world's coming to an end. But I'm sure there's some clever people which will fix it. I mean, Elon Musk, right? He's sane, right? He'll fix it, right?
I hope so, because I don't know many others. I don't know. I have no idea.
Elon, fix it.
Yeah, like if
you'll be in Mars and looking back, you'll be like, it's not my problem anymore. I'm a Martian now.
See ya, Elon. Have a good time.
He'll be
One
in
way
his
trip.
Tesla.
Oh, that's a
He'll be in
shame.
his Tesla Roadster that's out in space right now, orbiting Mars.
Robo taxis running around Mars. Oh, just I can see it. I can believe it.
I know. Yeah.
Hey guys, I have something I want to share with you, which is not related to charts directly, but it has to do with keeping ourselves healthy. And I have a situation that I want to hear your honest opinion about. That happened to me this morning. What would you do in that situation? We still have a few minutes left, right? I don't think we have a truth coming. Yes, I have a soup maker. You're like, what the hell? Where's it going? So, and when I'm busy, I just chuck in, it's just I don't know if you know what a soup maker is. You just chuck in all the things. You don't have to cook anything in advance. So I just chuck in my butternut, some broccoli. I added some chili, a lot of cream cheese, and it was the best, and it's every time it's different because you add, I'm not doing it exactly the same. So I had that little nice soupy just before we got on yesterday, and I made some for today. And obviously it's nighttime here then, and I started doing some other stuff, journaling, and then I went to bed. So I forgot about my soup maker, that it was still in my kitchen. The lid was on though. So I came in this morning and making a coffee. It was still dark. And I was like, why am I seeing this trail of ants? Where is it going? And then I saw they were just going into they were on my soup maker. I was like, oh my God. And then I opened the lid and I saw a few of them in the inside. So I took a wipe quickly, and I thought, okay. But then I was thinking, oh my God, it is such a good soup. I don't want to lose it. But because there's pepper inside and some chia seeds, just for the sake of the story, if you did not get all the ants out, would you still eat it?
If you didn't tell me, yes.
I mean, protein.
No, I think I got them all out, but I think I got them all out, but I'm really debating: am I going to eat it or not? But
it's not harmful, right? I mean, these are just common ants, right? They're not some crazy South African ant that's super poisonous or something.
Ants.
Yeah, then nothing will happen to you if you do eat it. It's whether mentally you can get over the fact that maybe there's an ant in here.
I feel like
they want to feed us insects nowadays. They say it's protein, it's healthy. It's actually really healthy. But I want to hear all your opinions, because I'm still debating. I still have it because it was the best batch ever. But I think I got them all out, but I don't know. They fell in and they're swimming in it, and I don't see them. So I guess
obviously, I'm not taking a trading position, but I'll take a position on this, right? And my position on this is, honestly, and I don't believe in wastage, but dog or thrown out. I'm just that's my position. I'm committing to it. I'm sorry. I would have thrown it out.
No, it's just your honest opinion. Yeah.
I with my mindset of definitely not feeling comfortable with knowing what kind of ant for sure it is or anything alone, I probably would have taken it outside and bazookaed it, just completely destroyed it. And
okay, so that's a 3 times no.
Well,
I'll let you know. I'll let you know tomorrow what I did.
That brings in another. That just randomly brings in the fact that you own a bazooka, Paul. I'm like, what? What?
Metaphorically.
So Iris has got a suit maker which gets regularly invaded by ants, and you have a bazooka just in case that happens. Right? Very interesting information.
Just in case.
Oh, but ants are actually nothing. I mean, that's just. I mean, I'm living in the bush, so.
Don't say that. They might hear you. Seriously.
I love ants. I love ants, but not. Yeah, they're creatures.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well. I'm going to think about what I'm going to do. I might eat it, but I'll let you know what I do.
I wouldn't blame you.
But yeah, that is time, everyone. Great session. Paul G, Paul P, and Iris. That's a bit of a tongue twister. Paul G, Paul P.
Can I call you Pico? I like Pico. Can I just call you Pico instead of Paul?
Yeah, you just Pico from now on. I think that'll be easy.
Whatever works for you guys, I'm all good.
Nice to go about have some crypto as well. Okay, Robert would throw it out as well. Okay, that's a 4. Okay, thank you for your input.
Great engagement, Iris. We're getting all the comments. Thanks to you. Good job.
All right, guys. Have a great evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And to Robert and everyone else watching, thank you, guys. And we will see you very soon. So,
Thank you, everybody. It was a pleasure.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.